Hey guys, I'm Gory B Movie.
And I'm Danny Nightmare.
And we're Horror Addicts. And tonight on Horror Addicts Live.
You are best
and worst
of 2018.
So let's start by talking about 2018 as a whole. You know, every year has their, and let us know in the chat, of course, if you can hear us and stuff okay and all that stuff. So hopefully the stream is running well for all of y'all. But yeah, let's talk about 2018. Thoughts on 2018?
Over. For movie-wise, there was nothing I felt that was just super amazing. But overall, for me, I thought everything was a little above average.
Yeah, I think I have to agree. Overall, it was a pretty solid year, but there wasn't a movie for me like last year we had Get Out. We had so many like big ones that really stood out. And, you know, even the last few years, there's always been, you know, a couple that are just like 5-star movies for me. And this year it was just a lot that were really good.
Yeah, I had a lot of 4-star.
Yeah. But there were some big highlights, and Zachary says we're all good in the chat. Let's quickly say hi to everyone who's here. Eric Griffin's here. Queenie Todd is here. William Ellman, what up? Horror Addicts Anonymous in the house. And also Felix, Raiders AK, and Ben. Lots of Horror Addicts Anonymous. So, hey guys. Good to see everybody. And this year there were some interesting trends. Oh, there's also Geek Out Cinema.
Oh, sweet. How's it going?
This year there were some interesting trends. Like the last couple years, found footage has been really big.
Home invasion, I think 2 years ago.
2 years was like a huge home invasion year. And this year I'm noticing a lot of witchcraft. I'm noticing a lot of paranormal.
Yep. Demonic.
Yeah, it's very, and not necessarily like found footage either, because there was hardly any found footage this year. There wasn't also a lot of creature features outside of, you know, maybe witches.
I guess the two biggest movies that were closest to found footage would be like Searching and Dark Web, but that's like kind of found footage, but it's a computer screen. It's a little, it's like a cousin of found footage.
It's moving into like a whole new direction where we're gonna tell the whole thing on a laptop.
It's like been split off like that. A lot of remakes and sequels and stuff coming.
And already we're gonna get more into this in our next stream where we talk about our most anticipated, but next year is gonna be a big remake.
Yeah.
But I'm actually really excited about all of them, so no complaints here.
Got a remake sequel, Halloween 2. Everybody was like hyped for all year round. Then out of nowhere we had a remake sequel kind of Leprechaun 2.
Yeah.
No one saw that one coming, and it was actually pretty good.
And, you know, when you told me there was going to be a new Leprechaun, again without Warwick Davis, especially after the last one with Hornswoggle, I was just like, yeah, no thank you. I have my Leprechaun movies. I'm good. Yeah. Didn't ask for it. Don't need it. Not excited about it. And then we watched it, and it was, if you like the first one, I think you're going to like it. I think it's maybe my second favorite in the franchise. It's funny. It doesn't take itself too seriously. The guy who played the Leprechaun, I can't remember his name, but he did a great job.
Yeah. Some
great kills.
He wasn't like a weird furless cat like in Origins.
Yeah. And it's a direct sequel to the first one. They got a great Jennifer Aniston impersonator for part of it, and we got Ozzy back.
Yeah. Did the voice well. Ozzy came back. We had Jennifer Aniston's character's daughter. And it was actually really good. The kills were great.
Yeah.
Amazing kills.
We will have our Oscars, which is our horror-themed Oscars, next month on February 24th. And you better believe Leprechaun is getting a nod in that best kill department.
Have the voting up soon. That some of you are going to be presenting for.
Hey, look, we got 1993 Horror Freak reviews from the Land Down Under, and Noah Ford, and our buddy Simon, the Time Lord. I love that guy so much. Now, I'm sorry, honey.
Oh, and we got the supposedly last Sharknado movie.
Oh God, I hope it's the last one. See, the Sharknado ones, and Crypt 6 is here. Hey, the Sharknado movies, I've always felt like they get kind of a bad rap. I mean, I've always loved that they know what they are, they own what they are, they've never tried to be more than what they are. And I've had a lot of fun with them. I really like Sharknado 2. Sharknado 2 is a lot of fun. I even think the fourth one was fun. But this last one, just fucking no. Just no. Just stop. I think it ended really well, but it just got it got too fucking weird even for me. And all the cameos and this stuff at this point, it's getting kind of, it got beyond fun silly.
Yeah, they had a extra CGI with dinosaurs and other things too, and it didn't look good at all. And the jokes I felt fell flat. They didn't have the wind and gusto in them as a lot of the old jokes did. 2 and 3 were like my favorite. I really liked 4 too. 1 and 5 are okay, but this is probably my least favorite. And
it is by far my least favorite in the franchise.
I hope it is. Like they say, it's the last one. I hope it is the last one.
Deliver on that. Jack Payne is also here. Thank you. He likes our shirts. This is my Mean Girls / horror icons. On Wednesdays, we wear pink.
My horror
you
icons.
You can't sit here, Freddie.
Solving a mystery.
I love little mashup shirts.
Because if Scooby-Doo didn't teach me anything, it's that the real monsters are men.
Yes, the real monsters are human. There's a whole deep layer, and our demonic Spawn will be exploring that in his upcoming stream, the Scooby-Dooby stream. So he is the expert on all things do.
Or do it.
Do the do. I think someone else already taken.
Spell it differently?
Yeah.
Scooby-Doo's actual name was taken from a song. So...
Yeah, Frank Sinatra. And we're going off on a tangent.
Anyways.
The other thing that is interesting about this year, if you guys are longtime watchers of the show, Danny and I tend to agree for the most part on movies. Usually if we have a different opinion, it's a very slight opinion, but normally if I like something, he likes it, he might like it more or a little bit less than me, but usually we're about the same. And likewise, if he hates something, I'm tending to be like, this year, no. This year we had very different opinions on 2018 films.
We had a really big different top 10 there.
Yes. Would you like to dive into that? Do we want to start with the best or the worst?
Let's maybe do the first half of our top 10.
Okay.
And then do 10 through 5. We can do the worst. I don't know if I'm going to do 10 worst movies.
We're not going to... I don't know if I can do 10 worst. I know I definitely have 2.
We'll scrape the bottom of the barrel for a couple of them. And
we're going to pull up our letterboxes. You want to just type in yours? Alright, while I'm typing, you got to say stuff.
So, anybody think you can guess which our favorite are in the chat? That'd be cool.
Yeah, I don't know if they will, because I was surprised by some of mine. And another thing to keep in mind with ratings, you know, we get comments a lot on our ranking videos and rating videos. And guys, honestly, my rankings stuff change day to day. I don't put a lot of stock into ratings. That's why we don't use that kind of rating system on our show, because it changes day to day, and it's really hard to compare like a horror comedy with like a movie like Hereditary. It's like they're good for different reasons. Yeah. You know, so it is really hard, and I've messed around with my list so much. So the order isn't like super important. I did try my best to rank them, but, and, you know, also, we don't even agree with each other, so most likely you're not going to agree with us, and that is okay, because we all love horror movies, and we don't all have to agree on them.
I'm not even sure I agree with myself.
I don't know if I do either. Sometimes I look at my list, and I'm like, did I really like that one more? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, like you said, we don't do a star rating. For those who haven't seen one of our reviews, I think you've all seen it, but in case you haven't, we do a Kill It With Fire being the worst thing ever. Skip it if it wasn't horrible, but still not worth watching. See it if it's good and just worth checking out, and then own it. Put this in your collection. And I can stick by all that.
Yeah, that's pretty easy, because...
But if it's a star rating, I'll give it like maybe a 4, and then later I'll look back and be like, maybe that was only a 3.5.
Yeah, star ratings are hard, because
so
even with us, like, you know, I'll see you put something as a 4 in Letterboxd, and I'm like, really? And for him, a 4 means completely different than what it means for us. So that's just how things work.
Anyways, let's take a look.
Dun. Oh, also, Danny, we almost forgot something really important.
Really important.
It is our birthday.
Oh yeah, happy birthday to us. We're 4 years old.
We're 4 years old. We're like moving out of sippy cups. You know, we're gonna start school soon. We're big kids now.
I'm a big kid now.
Yeah, so we started this channel. Well, you started this channel. I didn't actually join until a month later. But you started it January 19th, 2015. So lay out the scene for us.
Just watched the movie Tusk. I'd been talking about doing a channel for a while. I was inspired by mostly black nerd comedy and a few other channels but they weren't horror related, really. Black nerd comedy, he has all this cool like geek stuff behind him, and he just has funny little skits and reviews movies that are nerdy, like turtles and stuff. And like I was like, I could do that. We have tons of horror stuff behind us. It was a different set back then. We had a different house, but we still had two big shelves just full of horror. And I was like, I'd love to do that, but just kind of maybe about horror. I talked about it for a while. Until I was watching the movie Tusk. And then I was watching the special features of Tusk, and I found out that how Kevin Smith kind of made the movie was, he was just joking around on a podcast with a friend. They were like looking up these things on Gumtree, which is kind of like Craigslist in Canada. And the guy had a funny little note about how he wants a walrus roommate. Roommate who can come in and live for free, no rent, as long as they dress up like a walrus for 1 hour a day. And then they started making the horror movie, and like, they're like, you know what? Let's stop talking about it. Let's actually make that movie. And I was inspired. Stop talking about having a YouTube channel. Just go up there and we'll do Tusk.
And you did it.
So me and Undead Jess marched up into our horror attic, all our merch behind us,
which is where our name came from.
Yeah, because we had an attic.
Sounds similar to Attic, where we used to film all our videos in our old house.
Yeah, I'm like, we're the Horror Addicts, filming in the horror attic.
Now we're just upstairs, which doesn't sound as impressive. Now we're in the Batcave.
But it is a much more impressive setup. Anyways, so yeah, we just filmed it, cranked it out there. It's pretty much unwatchable nowadays compared to our videos, but oh well.
It has its charm.
It does.
And then a few episodes later, you did Gone Girl, and you're like, hey, you want to be in this episode? I'm like, yes, sure. But that's all I'm doing. I'm just going to be on camera. And then we started having fun with editing, and yeah, now I do a lot of editing.
You're like, I want to do the spring. I'm gonna even review it by myself, and I'm gonna edit it. I'm like, go for it. And you got the new program, and great, Premiere Pro. We hadn't used that yet.
Yeah, it's kind of like when I watch special features on like especially movies in the 80s, how they would have so much fun trying to do like the magic show of it. How can we make this look real? And so for us, that's really exciting for me. Like when in the beginning when we first learned how to put a picture on a video, I was like, Dan, no, Dan did that first, and then when I learned how to do animation, and like it's just always fun to kind of like keep seeing what more we can do. Like recently we were able to cover the hands on Monster Face. It's exciting.
Yeah, that's cool. We've come a long way. Started off with Movie Maker, and we did a few of those ones. I learned to put images on there with the After Image. That was such a
After Effects.
It's such a horrible program, honestly. I do not recommend it unless you're making a GIF or something. Making a tiny little GIF, it's probably great. But then you got Premiere Pro, and you're like, oh, this is actually not bad, and checked it out, and loved it ever since, so.
Yeah, and so for anybody, I hear a lot of people say, oh, I don't have the right program, I don't have the right camera. We started with a point-and-shoot camera, we started with Windows Movie Maker. Just start with what you have, and use your cell phone if you want. I think what's really important is that you get used to being on camera, you get comfortable with it, so it does take some time.
We went like a half a year before we even really upgraded. It was, I did Jaws in early July for 4th of July, and then you did spring right after that, so it was in mid-July, and we started in mid-January. Half a year. You get really comfortable on camera, and it's just fun to meet people in the community and share your thoughts on horror with people. So it's great. And I also see in the chat, Dave Maggot, he's so adorable, he's here. AJ Punk 15's here, and Michael Villegas. Cool.
Hey guys.
But yeah, even back then when our reviews didn't have much to them, we still had the skits where lots of fake blood and stuff, like our alien one where we gave birth to the alien one where zombies ate the FedEx guy. For fun. Always had fun with it. Yeah, Simon, I see that he's asked in the chat. Definitely answer Simon's question about what you're excited for. We are our next stream together. We'll be doing our most anticipated 2019. Before that, though, I'm going to be doing a Ghouls Night Out, and you've got a Stag Night with the boys, I believe. But let's dive in. So where do you want to start, Daniel? Daniel Keith Garrett Bartholomew Spencer Nightmare. That's his full name. Let's do a top 20. Top 20! Start from number 20, and then work our way. Working our way up. I just changed it. I'm looking at this now. I'm like, what? That's not my top. I just changed it today again. And I'm going to regret it. I know I am. We'll do the first half of our 20, then we'll do some Razzies, our worst, and then we'll do the last half of our 20. Top 10. So the 20 to... Already I'm looking at this and I'm thinking I need to... Okay, so here's a question for you guys.
we review a lot of things on our channel that are not necessarily like straight horror, but they're spooky or they're creepy. Like we do a lot of animation like Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
I reviewed Searching, which I wouldn't say is a horror movie, but it's a thriller. It's in the ballpark enough that it's certainly something interesting.
We'll count like dark comedies and thrillers too. I mean, they're violent and they have intense fear elements to it. They're not exactly.
All right, I think, okay, I will say right now, in my top 20, I did have Searching and Thoroughbreds. Those are both movies I wouldn't call horror, but they are thriller, dark type movies. I'm just going to tell everyone here that they're really good movies, and I'm not going to include them in my top 20. I'll try to stick with horror. That, and I just want to add more movies. All right, yeah, I'm confident now. I'm good. I'm good. Throw me in the ring.
All right, well, Searching kind of made my top 20, but I'll take it off and I'll go to my 21.
That's what I just said to do.
Right.
See?
So I'll do the same thing. So what's your number 21 or whatever then?
Oh, I'm so nervous. And already I know we're gonna, somebody mentioned, hope Halloween isn't on there. I'm gonna tell you guys right now, Halloween is on both of our lists. We loved the Halloween movie. We'll see it coming up. But if you don't like it, you are in company. I mean, Uncle Dusty, he hated it. If you look at our review, he hated Halloween. And Lulz was not impressed.
Lulz gives a weird review though. Like, says it's like this, and still says it's like the best sequel.
Yeah.
It's alright.
Lulz is a Jason, a loyal Jason fan.
He's not a big fan.
Yeah.
Lex is Friday the 13th.
He loves his Friday the 13th. Yeah, he picks Jason over all, because he's not a big Freddy fan either. Not even a
Jason is my
Chucky
favorite
fan.
slasher, I'd have to say. He's my slasher watch. Ash is my favorite horror icon.
It's tough. I would say Jason or Chucky. God, I love Chucky. It all depends.
I love them all though. I'd say Jason probably is my favorite.
Jaime and Fuego's here. I love Jaime because he's like my most metal friend, and I feel like I'm more metal by association just because we're buds.
Halloween sucked.
Felix, I totally respect your opinion. Wrong. No, I'm kidding. You are totally entitled to your opinion, and I can definitely see why some people don't like it. But for me, that's my kind of movie.
And I don't know, even if you didn't like that, it did well. So, I mean, that means we're going to get Jason soon. It means other characters that we haven't seen for a while are probably going to come back. And maybe
Chucky's
they'll do it better.
Chucky's supposed to get his own show next year.
I'm looking forward to the show.
Yeah, that'd be cool. All right, so, okay, taking off the two, because we have already recommended Thoroughbreds and Searching. Those were two of my favorite films of the year, but they're not straight up horror. So we're not counting them. I just burped. Live. Nobody saw that. Ah, shit, this is so tough. But, here we go. I'm gonna say Unfriended Dark Web.
Alright.
Kelly Chainsaw's in the house and War Guy Films.
Tell us a little bit why you liked it.
Okay, so Unfriended Dark Web. I did enjoy the first one. I thought it was really interesting the way they filmed it, especially that they pretty much filmed it in one go, from what I understand. They were all in different rooms and they filmed it. I thought that was interesting, but I wasn't really... I really could give a shit if those kids died. Those kids were awful, and that was the point of it. The point was that all these characters were awful, and you find out as the story progresses, and so it didn't bother me that they were awful. But this one was so much better because I did really care for the characters. They seemed like people I would hang out with.
Yeah, play Cards Against Humanity with.
Yes, they seemed like my kind of people, and I was upset when they died. It was really intense. It was very believable because there wasn't that supernatural element of it. I am kind of afraid of the dark web, as I think everyone is to a degree that is online. And, you know, it's a simple mistake, and you can see how it progressed so quick. And we got to see the ending that's not the common ending, which I really like. I did watch the standard ending recently, and I didn't like that as much. So that might be a big part of the reason why I left the theater like on a big high. Like, this was great. Ending. But it was really suspenseful, really thrilling, and I was very invested.
Cool. For my number 21, yeah, because I only have one that I have to take off there. Terrifier. Art the Clown, he's awesome. Times. Great kill, especially the one down the middle, if you've seen the movie.
Hey, there's a Cruise Tom. Is that our old friend Tom Cruise? Is he back?
Oh.
Is he running back into our chat?
Searching.
Searching? He's going searching.
He's just running around saying searching.
Tom Cruise.
He's always at full speed.
Endlessly entertaining.
I loved when the mummy was like, "Oh, you two young men."
It's like
he's
he's
like
over 50.
He's probably as old as the old, like, the colonel guy saying it to him. I mean, he doesn't
know.
look as old. He doesn't.
He was older than the guy saying, okay, we're tangenting. Hey, Bong Man. Anyway, honey, you were saying.
Oh, anyways, Art the Clown's awesome. There's some really great gore in there. I felt, though, they kind of kill off the one girl who was kind of like a really great final girl. And when they kill her off and then the other girl kind of takes over as, like, the new one halfway through the movie kind of slowed down a little bit for me. And it wasn't bad, though. I still really like it. I want to see more of that. I enjoyed it. New guy played Art the Clown this time, because not from the old short films.
Yeah, and
he
here's
still did a great job.
You guys have probably seen him on a lot of interviews. We're going to meet him at Crypticon this year, but he actually, the reason he does so well is he actually is a mime. Like, he's done a lot of mime work in real life. So I think that really helped him get that expression down, that physical acting down. And our buddy Creepa Freak is here, and Callie Chainsaw really liked Hellfest, so that's awesome. My cousin wrote. Okay, there's no way to say that without sounding like you're bragging. But yes, my cousin wrote Hellfest, so he will be very, very happy to hear that because it got mixed reviews, and it didn't do as well in the box office as he wanted it to. But I think a lot of the diehard horror fans in the community really enjoyed it.
He was happy of how the product came out, though. He's written some where they've changed completely of what he wrote and liked actually what he saw on the screen.
Yeah.
So, anyways, what's your second?
It's actually interesting we just mentioned Hellfest because Hellfest is my number 19.
Damn, that's low.
It's in my top 20, okay? Just because he's my cousin doesn't mean everything he does is my absolute favorite. I loved it. It's in my top 20. It's one of my favorite of the year. It is not my favorite of the year, but I really did enjoy. I also liked the TV show he did. But yeah, Hellfest, I think the biggest thing I loved about Hellfest is just the set design. It looked like a park that I would want to go to. I wasn't that invested in the characters with the exception of, God, I'm totally on her name right now, but the short-haired gal. I really liked her. I wasn't that invested in the characters. They were pretty stock. The killer was really cool. The other, especially, I especially enjoyed the ending. It was nice to see, like, Tony Todd, but mostly this was just fun for me as a horror fan because it was that experience of going into a haunted amusement park. It had the jump scares, and in this one, it worked because you get jump scares in a haunted amusement park, and it was very well paced. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it.
Great.
Obviously, I enjoyed it more than Unfriended Dark Web, Danny.
Didn't enjoy it as much as me.
Okay, don't get me in trouble with my family members, y'all.
But
I give it to you guys straight. I'm not gonna say I like something more, just to please my family members. But it is in my top 20. Seth, if you happen to watch this, I did love it. He just likes it more than me because he has to one-up me on everything.
Well, I'm gonna go with the. Speaking of clowns, we had Terrifier last time. This time I'm going with the Killjoy himself, Trent Haga's own movie, 68 Kill. This is a weird, fucking crazy ass
You're
movie.
gonna count that as a horror film?
Fuck yeah.
Alright, you better...
Those women are horrifying.
You better explain yourself.
This is a weird, crazy, bizarro universe.
And to explain a little bit what you said, because I don't know if everyone in the chat is familiar, Trent Haga is the guy who has been playing Killjoy, the full moon killer clown, in parts 3 to the current one.
2, 3.
He is also a writer. He is also a director. He's done a lot of horror movies, and this was one of his projects this year, as well as he also did It Came from the Desert, I believe, this year.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's always very, very busy in front of and behind the camera.
Hardworking man. Anyway, 68 Kill is a very bizarro universe where this guy, basically any woman he comes across, they're hot, they're a badass, and they're psycho nuts. Like almost different shades of Harley Quinn, every woman he meets. And it's a very violent, just crazy ass shit. He's dating this girl, and her brother is a serial killer who, like, she brings women to him sometimes for some cash and then chops them up and puts them in little jars. They're gonna do a heist. The heist goes wrong. They end up kidnapping a girl. He then likes this girl, but then she's kind of crazy in her own right. And then they escape and leave his crazy girlfriend behind, just to come across an even crazier girl that works at a gas station and knows that there's something up with them, so she then stalks and plays them.
They should have called this movie Bitches Be Crazy.
Yeah, that would have been a much better title, but I think it's very scary. There's a serial killer. Everybody's almost a killer in one way or another, and yeah, I love it. And Trent Haga, I want to see a little more of him doing more stuff like this.
Yeah, I thought it was action-packed beginning to end. It is a little misogynistic, but I mean, there are guys who are terrified of women, and if that is your fear, this is your horror movie.
Yeah, and I would agree that it is, but it also seems to be in a different kind of reality. It's not saying this is like what reality's like.
I do like that they're all badass women.
Yes, they are. They're all
and
very
not
tough.
all the women are crazy. You have a couple exceptions. That's part of the ride, so.
They're all really tough and be feared for one reason or another.
Ghost of Camp Blood, Callie? Now I gotta... Yeah, are you guys like that? When I hear someone say, oh, this was like the worst movie, I immediately go, I need to see that right now. Like, what is wrong with me?
Yeah.
Take a warning. You know, when someone tells me it's the worst burger they've ever had, I don't go, oh, I'm going to go order me one. Yeah. But if you tell me it's the worst movie you've ever seen, I have to
Challenge
see it.
accepted.
Yes! Yes! I don't know, sometimes bad movies are a little bit fun.
Sometimes I enjoy, like, Troll 2 in The Room. Like, they're in Manos, The Hands of Fate. These are in Plan 9 from Outer Space. I love all 4 of those movies. They're noted as, like, the worst movies of all time, though. Challenge accepted. Maybe I'm going to love it. Alright, what's next for you?
For me, Daniel, Nightmare, and all of y'all, boils and ghouls. I changed this today, so I was surprised to see it on my list. I was like, oh, surprises. But I really liked The Dark. The Dark was, I think if you like Let the Right One In, this is one that's going to be up your alley. It was very different. It starts with a teenage boy who's been kidnapped, and he is definitely deep into Stockholm Syndrome, and he's just been broken. And they go out into the woods where there is this creature living in the woods, and the creature, which is this zombified, like, girl, she kills the serial killer, and then she finds this kid in the trunk, and he's just so pitiful, she can't hurt him. And she becomes a little protective of him. And the kid is so brainwashed. She's like, where's the guy? And she can't even tell him that she's killed him because he is that brainwashed from abuse. And he's been blinded, so he can't even see, like, how horrific she looks. And the more she becomes protective of him, the more she cares for him, the more her anger at what happened to her subsides. And the more she starts to kind of heal and she becomes less zombified. And it's a really good story. I think it has some nice metaphors in there about abuse, about surviving abuse. It was really good. Really good. Really kind of gets you in the feels. Also had some great kills. Also had some great makeup. And great performances. And original.
I like them. Yeah.
Hey, Beth's here.
Hey.
Beth S., our favorite audiophile. What about you, Danny?
Searching. I'm going with another one about, in a sense, a dangerous little girl. I'm going with Stephanie.
Good movie.
If you've ever seen the anime Elfen Lied, it's a lot like that, where she's got basically visible
many
things.
Arms.
Yeah, I don't want to like spoil it too much, but there's something dangerously attached to her that's invisible, multiple arms. And it gets out of control. We started off with her just waking up, and she can tell she's living alone. And I'm like, is this a zombie movie? Is she like just left in a zombie apocalypse? She's just hiding in her house. She goes outside, and her dead brother is in his bed. Her parents are gone. You don't know why. There is news on the TV, like, with this stuff is going on all over the world. It's affecting children horribly. Like, yeah, so she's not the only kid, in a sense. And you don't even know anything with her for a while, but it gets out of control, and when her parents do come home, they're very, very afraid of her. She's been talking to her little stuffed bear about how this monster lives out in, like, the woods and stuff.
Isn't it a turtle?
Oh, yeah, her little stuffed turtle. That's right.
She's so charming. I think that's the first half of the movie is my favorite, because she's so charming.
Mm-hmm.
She does all the things a kid would do left home alone. She gets hurt, she talks to herself, she plays around. I love it when she swears, and then she's like, oh, and then she realizes there's no adults, and so it's like, shit ass.
And she has little tea
adorable.
Parties with her stuffed animals and stuff.
And you get Frank Grillo in that, too, from the Purge franchise.
Some things are kind of moving around, and you're wondering, is her dead brother a ghost? It's just crazy. There's a lot going on there, and not all of it is quite explained. But I think you should check it out.
I think it was good. The first half for me was the strongest, but I did really enjoy it. And Phil's Creepy Videos is here. Welcome, Phil. Are you ready for me to go?
Yeah.
So my next one, this one is kind of an odd one for me because sometimes we like a movie, but we don't necessarily enjoy it. It's Annihilation. Annihilation was a lot of work. It is slow-paced. Very slow-paced, but it's gorgeous. So you're not bored. I mean, it's visually just stunning. It has a wonderful, like almost all-female cast. But the reason this one made my list is because this movie gave me an existential crisis. I was like sitting there wondering, like, it's one of those movies that kind of makes you feel like you're high, where you're like wondering what's the meaning of life and what is our purpose on this earth. Like, this movie will fuck you up, like really fuck you up at your core. So it stuck with me. I think when I first watched it, I didn't like it as much as I did after it had settled with me a bit, because I realized I just kept thinking about it. I couldn't stop thinking about it. And to me, that's a great story. That's a great movie. It's, you know, like I said, gorgeous, and the performances are fantastic. The horror aspect of it isn't that big. It's just more of the ideas that are horrifying.
Yeah, it's got a lot of build and spooky atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
There is like some mutated bears and alligators and stuff. I thought they didn't look too great, but then later on when you see like more of the creature that they're kind of out to find, that looked great. So the effects I felt fluctuated for me, but I really liked it. You know, Natalie Portman did a great job on it. So what do you want, Natalie?
And if you are the kind of person that likes to theorize about movies, if you're the kind of person who wants to go out for a slice of pie and talk about a movie and break it down, like, what does it all mean? Annihilation is so the movie for you. It's a little bit sci-fi. It's a little bit horror. The plot is really complicated. I don't even know if I could sum it up, but there's a shimmer that they realize is, like, possibly going to be the end of the world, and they decide to go into it, even though they don't think they're going to be coming back because the last troop didn't. So
yeah.
It gets really crazy. That is not the best description of it, but if you're into horror, sci-fi, and you want something with a really deeply layered plot, this is definitely one I would recommend.
Basically, they sent some soldiers in there. Only one of them showed up way late, and it was Natalie's boyfriend.
Yeah.
Her character's boyfriend, and he wasn't quite right when he came out, so he goes in there with another troop to find some answers. It's pretty crazy. Gets you thinking, so I liked it.
I'm very surprised by your next pick.
Well, technically, Annihilation is 2 picks away with my number 16.
Why don't you just go with it now?
But that's why I went with it now, because we just talked about it.
Hey, so. Captain Sexy Pants is here. Hopefully wearing his sexy pants. We're not wearing any pants.
I'm just going to say Annihilation. Talked about it.
What did you like about it?
Like I said, I just talked about all the things. I just joined in with the conversation.
Fine, Danny. So, am I just going forward?
Go ahead.
Onward and upward. So, my next one was one, please play, what? I don't know about that. And William did not like A Quiet Place. So, my next one is one that was on Netflix, and I don't know if a lot of people watched this one, but it was based on a short film that I really liked. It's Cargo. It has Martin Freeman in it from Sherlock, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, in the British Office, and he was fantastic in it. He really carries this movie, and it is co-directed by the writer and director of the short film. Great female director, and I want to see more from her. But essentially, it's a zombie apocalypse, and I swear every time I think I'm done with zombies, another one comes along where I'm like, oh, that was actually really good. Maybe I'm not done. And this was one where I'm like, okay, maybe I'm not done, because it's zombies again in a different way. And in this, the man loses his wife, and then he's bitten, and he has a baby, so he only has a limited amount of time left, and he needs to get his baby to safety. He needs to get his baby to somebody that he trusts to raise her, because he's not going to be able to do it. And it's heartbreaking. It really pulls at, you know, the feels. It also had great zombie makeup. It's horrifying at times, but it's one of those I don't know, like a tearjerker horror movie. So, but it was very, very good, I thought.
It was probably the best zombie movie here for me. Alright, this one's probably gonna, I don't know, rub people the wrong way, that I know it's pretty low on my list, but hey, it made my list. Number 16 for me is Hereditary.
And you got on me for putting Hellfest at 19?
Yeah. I still stand by
Did you
that.
see Hereditary?
Yeah, I've seen it twice now, and it's long. it's really long.
Fair enough, but not the longest movie of the year.
No,
like
definitely
House
not.
that Jack built, that's like 2.5 hours long.
But,
Suspiria is over an hour longer than the original Suspiria. Like, it's almost 3 hours.
I'm not saying it is the longest. It feels really long for me. It's very dramatic. Probably the most dramatic horror movie of the year, I would say. That's not a bad thing. It just, for me, I don't want to watch that very often. That's why it's pretty low on my list. I think it's really done well. It's got a great cast. They all did well. Except for one maybe bit of really bad crying that just felt out of place. Like, maybe you should have just got one more take on that. Everything else was great, though, on the acting. And
Alex Wolff, the character you're talking about, the actor who plays the character you're talking about, was also in My Friend Dahmer, and he was great in that, too.
Yeah. Now I want to read the book that My Friend Dahmer is based off, because I enjoyed that movie. So, yeah, and you have to hear a lot, and...
But
I know
you have to admit that particular scene, and if you've seen it, you know which one.
The one scene,
You and I were both like, holy shit.
Like, kind of had me on the edge of my seat there. Like, oh, I knew it was coming, and they showed it, and they showed it well. And the ending is great, too. I like that. But a lot of weird miniatures and stuff that I'm not saying it's bad. It just, for me, it's a really long, let's get through this. I don't like to watch it over and over again. That's why it's low on my list, but I still like the movie. It's done well. Oh.
Hey, Yozatsu's here. Is it Celtic or Celtic? I'm gonna go with Celtic. Celtic J. Alrighty, so are we ready for my next one?
Yep.
My next one is another one that I saw on Netflix this year, and it was Cam. Cam was really good. It's really quickly paced. It's about a cam girl, and it's written by a cam girl. And so it was really interesting to kind of see that life. And as somebody who makes YouTube videos, there's a lot of it that I understood, like, you know, trying to climb up with, you know, in your subscriber count and trying to be original and trying to always, you know, up your ante, always try to outdo yourself.
Yeah.
So that was something that I could relate to, and it was very different. It was almost kind of Black Mirror-like in a sense, but it was different, and I really liked Madeline Brewer. And what are you smiling at?
Oh, just the reactions to, I think, Hereditary being so low. Oh, what the?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Danny.
Oh, Danny.
Silly man.
Silly Danny.
But no, Cam, I like Cam too.
But Cam was good. I wasn't super crazy about the ending, and that's why it's not ranked higher on my list. But I did really enjoy it.
Didn't make it. Thing about my list is, like I said, almost all of the things on my list are 4 stars for me. 3.5. But right below the ones on the list are still the same ranking, likewise. So I wouldn't even like argue which one's like better. They're all ranked the same on my letterbox. It's just preference slightly.
Hey, my girl Ariel's here. Like I said, guys, ranking for us is fairly arbitrary. So, you know, they could always probably move 1 or 2 paces forward or back, and you know,
yeah,
ranking is hard, guys. Ranking is really hard.
I don't know. I might even change my list up a little bit later if I mess. I still have a couple more 2018 movies I need to put on there. So I don't think they'll beat these ones, but then again, they.
So what's your next one?
I don't know. Some people hate this movie, some people love this movie, and I don't know. It's number 15 for me. Bird Box. Bird means dong, and box means vagina. That's what this movie's about.
Wait, bird means dong?
Yeah, like in Trailer Park Boys, he's always like, my bird.
That's what they were talking about?
Got kicked in the bird. Everybody wants to see my bird?
You just, like, shattered my world.
Box where you put your bird in.
Bird Box was based on a book by Josh Malerman, and I read that when it came out. And even if you don't like the movie, I think you should definitely give the book a chance, because the book is so much more horrific and darker and grislier, and I really did enjoy the book.
It sounds a lot better. I think the performance as well. I like Sandra Bullock. I always enjoyed her ever since Love Potion #9 and tons of other movies she did back then. Demolition Man. Yeah, I think she got screwed out of the end, but oh well. Great, and I don't know. I like seeing her.
You just changed Ben's whole view on Bird Box. Way to go, hon.
Yeah, that's what do you think the blindfolds are for? You know.
The whole movie is a metaphor for avoiding people flashing you.
Yeah.
That's why they freak out. That's because some people are like, their
They're
minds are opened up by the dong, but some people are destroyed by the dong.
It's all censorship. The
Holy
whole movie is
shit.
a metaphor for censorship. And you got the pervos running around going, no, you gotta see this. You gotta see this. Check out my bird box.
You just blew my fucking mind.
Right? That's not what everybody else thought the movie was about. That's my take on it.
Yeah, no.
Whole thing is
I've
about
heard a
censorship.
lot of metaphors for what people think it's about, but that's a new one for me.
No, even if you hate this movie...
Maybe you're the dongstress now. The dong master.
I'm more on... I lean towards the box end. Not the bird so much.
The
but,
box master.
Yeah, but anyways, even if you hate this movie, you have to say that it has been ripe of just hilarious memes and all kinds of stuff like that, so got that out of it, if anything.
Yeah, Ariel keeps mentioning Glass. Glass is 2019, and we haven't seen it yet, but we hope to. We were big fans of Split.
Yeah, we're gonna go see Glass real soon. And also thinking about Bird Box.
Dave Maggot says, Bird Box made me want to poke my eyes out with a dong.
I don't blame you.
If you do that, make a video of it.
The way I felt about Bird Box is it is such a hammy and like cheesy plot. Like the book you said sounds better, but still, it's like it's not much different than The Happening, which that movie is horrible, like hilarious.
Or in a way, even A Quiet Place.
Yeah, even like A Quiet Place. But The Happening, where all of a sudden people just are urged to kill themselves. Thankfully, it wasn't a plant. In fact, they don't really ever tell you in Bird Box exactly what it is, other than it's sort of evil, but alien, is it demonic? You don't ever really get to know. And I'm glad, because if they're like, oh, well, right about the bees all along, or the plants, the wind. Plus, Sandra Bullock did a great job. What's her name from American Horror Story did a great job.
Sarah Paulson.
She didn't have a big part, but I think what she did was great. And
I always love her.
That's the thing. Also, in The Happening, the acting is so cheesy and hammy.
The kids were good. The kids were really good.
Yeah, those little kids did a great job, and they're probably scared as hell.
And that is a thing in horror. It's almost kind of becoming its own subgenre where there's like a horror where our senses are attacked. We have horror movies about where you can't hear a certain thing. Like, I hate to say it, but Bye Bye Man. Where you can't say certain things like Pontypool. You can't make a noise like in Hush.
Or Don't Breathe.
Don't Breathe. Yeah. Or Quiet Place. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's just that's part of the trend that's coming on around. Here we go. We got Bird Box. It's not amazing, but I thought it was really well made. And it's got a cheesy thing, but the acting's strong, so.
It didn't make my list. I think I would have liked it more if I hadn't read the book. For me, it was like the Disney movie version of the book. It was a little too sugary sweet. The ending had like this big happy ending. The book does not have a happy ending. Yeah, for me, it was like the PG-13 TV movie Disney-fied version of what was a really good book. And I think some aspects of it, like the creatures, work so much better in the book than they did on screen. You can't really see.
And even though I was like somewhat joking earlier, the reason why I liked it is because I did kind of take it as a metaphorical movie, and I enjoyed it. All right, what do you got next?
I respect that, yo. I respect you.
Plus, it's just funny to say Bird Box.
It is really fun to say Bird Box. Bird Box.
Bird Box.
Bird Box. Where am I on my list? Oh, my next one was Revenge. So Revenge was fucking brutal. Revenge is fairly story light, but it's a movie like the original Suspiria where it's very visual. And I like movies like that. You honestly, I think you could watch this movie with the sound off and you're not going to miss a beat of it because the whole story is very visual. I like how it's kind of really one of the most feminist rape revenge movies I've seen. And we know this character and we know exactly how she feels about the other characters in her situation because they tell us through visuals, which I think is really good. Yeah. I also like the lead actress in this was the lead actress in Rings. And a lot of people were like criticizing her and saying she was a bad actress in that. And I'm like, guys, she's from Italy. She has an accent. She's trying to play an American. She's not doing that great of a job being an American, but I thought she was talented there, and I think she really got a shine in this.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, the cinematography in this is amazing. It is brutal. It has buckets of blood. It's a little bit like The Crow in some places. It's a little bit like, I Spit on Your Grave and those kind of movies, but it's really good, and it's not at all misogynistic. It's hard to do with a rape revenge movie. They don't over glorify the rape scene. It really doesn't focus on that too much. In fact, I think there's more men naked in this movie than women.
I think it even cuts to the one gross guy swimming in a pool while know what's happening,
Yeah.
but
And that's the thing, like, you know what's happening, and so it worked really, really well, and this was made by a woman, and I just think it's really good.
and the character
Really
wasn't like
different.
someone just completely sweet and innocent. Like, she kind of put herself in this horrible situation, but obviously she did not deserve what she got, and got even worse from there. They did to her. It was cool that she came back. She had a cool, like, I think my problems with the movie was it's very unrealistic on how she survived
Yeah.
certain things, but oh well, it's like, if you can kind of take like action movie logic, you know,
For me, she's the woman's John McClane.
Yeah.
You know, you watch Die Hard, and you know, yeah, he'd be dead by the end of that movie. It's not realistic, but John McClane is our everyman. He is a guy you can relate to, and this is just a normal, everyday girl in a really horrible situation who rises to the challenge, and a lot of it is not believable at all. But it's kind of like an action movie horror film, and I think if you are willing to suspend your disbelief, you're going to be in for a really fun ride.
Yeah.
And it's one you can watch in Shudder.
I recommend it. All right, now some people might think this one should be higher on my list. I know for some people this is like favorite. I think you might think it's too high on my list.
I'm gonna get some
And
shit
some people
in
would
the
agree with
chat
you.
from this.
Some people would agree with you. I've heard mixed reactions on this.
Oh, hey, our girl Lita Fairy's here.
But my number 14 is Mandy. Now, I thought this was a really cool idea. Cage was hilariously great in it, as
He was
always.
busy this year. He did like 3 or 4 movies.
And for anybody who knows how Mandy got made, he was originally supposed to play the cult leader guy, but he turned down that role. He said, no, I want to be Red. And then, like, they finally agreed to let him be that.
The original idea of
yeah.
Red was like a young
guy. He wanted young versus
Yeah.
old. He's like, well, you can have young versus old, and like, but it doesn't have to be physically young versus old, because Red is a very young, like, rebellious character. He's wearing, you know, him and his Mandy, they live out there, and they're kind of hippie-ish lifestyle. They got rock and roll t-shirts.
Them.
Yeah.
I liked that they were not the standard couple you'd see in this movie. They're a little bit older. They're like in their 30s. They like metal. They're really
young
laid
at
back.
heart. Very young at
Yeah.
heart. Yeah.
I liked them. They were not stock characters, and I thought they were really cool. They were
Yeah.
one of the best parts of the movie. And the cinematography.
Yeah, Cage convinced him to let him play Red, and I think that was a great idea. For me, this movie, though, would have been higher, and, like, a lot of people really love this movie, and I wanted to. I like it a lot.
I wanted to love it, and
I feel like the movie is just a little out of order. It never quite gets into 4th gear. It, like, gets to 3rd gear, but then back to 2nd gear. And it ends kind of anticlimactic for me.
Zachary Hayes is a bad, and Danny loves Mandy, okay? I don't.
I just felt like the ending was a little
Only
anticlimactic.
half unsubscribe.
Because he kills the summoned demons, and he finds them pretty easily. But then after he kills them, when he goes to kill, like, the cult, that's very easy for him, and in comparison, it's a little anticlimactic. I just felt like it was in the wrong order. Like, if they would have saved the demons for, like, the final battle, maybe with just the leader of the cult hiding right behind them or something, that would have been better. But, oh well, I still love it. It's very beautiful. I love the dream sequences. They're very heavy metal. Like, you've seen those animated films.
Like the movie Heavy Metal.
Yeah, and Heavy Metal Magazine. So, that's great. I wanted to love it even more than I did, but I still like it. And
Mandy,
I feel like it deserves it on this list.
Mandy didn't make my top 20. It took me 3 tries to get through this. I kept fucking falling asleep. I loved the first part, but everything pretty much after Mandy, well, obviously you guys know Mandy gets killed. It was just, I couldn't, the movie was tonally really inconsistent for me, but it is beautiful. It's beautifully shot. The performances are great. It's original. It's different. But we also already had Mom and Dad, and I already had my Crazy Cage for the year. Mandy for me was a bit of a snore fest.
Fair enough. My favorite scene, though, is him in the bathroom. And I would swear that's just probably how he prepares for every role, and they just got it on camera. But I love when he's in the bathroom and he's just a drunken mess, just going Crazy Cage in there.
I think I would have liked if they had either decided to go Crazy Cage beginning to end, or just stuck with the tone that we got for the first, like, half hour of the movie, where it was kind of dreamlike. But just felt like it felt like two different movies in one.
I feel like
I definitely see why a lot of you guys love this movie. It is gorgeous, and who doesn't love Nicolas Cage? It just, for me, this was not a movie that was all that enjoyable. He loved it, though.
The parts that I really loved, I felt like they went by way too fast, and the rest of it went a little slow. So I just feel like the pacing from off, but still love it. It's Great artistic film. I
and I
recommend
do
it.
want to see the other film that's in this universe, because it is in the same universe as another movie.
Yeah.
And I'm curious enough to check that out, because this is a bizarre movie, and I was just really interested in the world.
And I hear it's going to be kind of a trilogy.
It's also really interesting because the guy who plays the bad guy in this, in real life, he is in a cult.
And yes, the cheddar goblin is like one of the coolest little things. That's all right, what's you got next?
Let me find out.
On your...
Actually, our next one's the same, so why don't we just both talk about it?
Oh, okay.
We both have Anna and the Apocalypse,
Anna
which
and
we
the
just saw recently.
Apocalypse. Musical Christmas zombie movie that just ended up being a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think for a musical of any type to be good, the music needs to be good, and the music is good. It's catchy. Everyone can sing really well in it. I loved the characters. You have a couple stock characters, but Anna's great, and I loved her friend, the short-haired gal who is on the newspaper. She was really good. It's a great singer.
Yeah,
it's beautiful. It's just a lot of fun. And again, just like when you think you're done with zombie movies, a movie comes along where it has great kills. It's a lot of fun. It's really well paced. In a way, tonally, it kind of reminded me of Shaun of the Dead, where there are parts of it that, sad or you're upset or angry, but overall you're having fun.
I enjoy this movie, but I would still say it's probably the Shaun of the Dead for young millennials.
Yeah.
There you go. Here's your Shaun of the Dead. That also, High School the Musical thrown in there for the hell of it.
And it's good enough that a lot of Christmas movies, they're just not really enjoyable outside of the Christmas season, but I think you can watch this one. I mean, it's still good.
Zombie Snowman was, the coolest zombie.
Yeah.
Zombie Santa Claus was super fucking cool. So I'm kind of glad that it was a Christmas movie just because I love those two zombies that are in this. And when they kill the zombies, they're really good gore effects. Really violent. So I'm into it.
And it has a human villain in it, too, who I think I actually hated more than any of the fucking zombies.
No,
he was awful.
And his number at the end was just, so over-the-toply great. He almost seemed like a bad guy from, I don't know, Futurama or Rick or Morty or even...
It was also like Shaun of the Dead, in that Shaun of the Dead sets up a lot of stuff in the first act, and then they come back to all those things in the second act, so it was very well structured. And Anna and the Apocalypse is also very well structured. There's a lot of things set up in the beginning that all pay off at the end.
And even though it is kind of sugary sweet with its songs and stuff, it's not going to have a super happy ending by any means. So
no, it's pretty realistic.
It's bleak.
They have a song saying there are no Hollywood happy endings, and
it's pretty much how it tells you.
It sets you up to let you know that maybe this film isn't going to have the happiest of endings.
Now, it seems real fun, but it's at the same time it's this is really depressing when you really think about it.
But yeah, I mean, you get pretty much everything you would get as far as the emotional gambit of your standard zombie film or The Walking Dead, with a girl killing zombies with a candy cane and singing and dancing. And it's pretty good. It's pretty good singing and dancing. I would say this is probably one of the better soundtracks of the year.
I think the reason why it made it to my list this high is just because I had a lot of fun watching.
I had a lot of fun with it, too.
Next Christmas, I'm probably going to put it in and watch it again.
Yeah.
So.
There's a few horror Christmas movies I watch every year, and I think that one's probably going to be added to my list. It's fun.
All right. Well, what do you got next, then? That was both our third.
Yes, sir. I'm going to change right on the spot here. I'm going to go with Upgrade. So we just watched Upgrade yesterday.
In fact, I don't know. Upgrade might have actually made my list. I watched a couple of movies in the last 2 days that I have not even put on my list. They miss out, but well.
Hey, Goblin215! Listen in the chat! So Upgrade, we just watched this yesterday. So we're a little late to the game. We didn't get to see it in theaters, but we did just rent it yesterday. And I thought it was really good. It's written and directed by Lee Winnell, who I really enjoy. Lee Winnell, who was in Saw, and he's paired up with James Wan on a lot of stuff. But it's kind of a mishmash of a few things.
Venom and Knight Rider.
Yeah, this guy gets an upgrade, like a computer
RoboCop.
upgrade type thing, in order to avenge himself, who was, injured and became a quadriplegic, and his girlfriend who was killed, or his wife who was killed, in this, what seems to be a random mugging.
Yeah.
And so, Crow style, he goes after everybody involved one by one, and he finds out there's a lot more to it, but he also has this voice in his head that's the computer chip, STEM, And that's a little bit like Venom. The voice also kind of reminded me of Kit from Knight Rider.
It sounds like Kit, kind of. I mean, it's not Mr. Feeney from Boy Meets World, but it sounds a lot like him.
But the stem takes over his body, so he can, like, he's like basically a ninja. He kicks ass, you know. He
specifically says he's not a ninja.
Yeah,
but nonetheless,
it's funny in a way, just because, like, you know, Stem doesn't quite understand things. It's surprising. I certainly didn't see the end coming. It's action packed. It's got some good kills in it. It was great.
Like Venom, it kind of controls his body to make him survive and beat up things that he couldn't normally do. I love it how he rolls into the, like, most dangerous bar in the city, quadriplegic, and then he, like, goes to the back room with some real dangerous men, but then when he comes back out, he still rolls back out after killing them all. He's just covered in blood. He's like, the beer's on them.
Yeah.
Everybody's just like, the fuck?
I think the lesson of Upgrade is never underestimate.
Underestimate your opponent, you might be in trouble.
But yeah, Upgrade was great.
Alright, for my next one, I'm gonna go with Unsane. I loved this movie. My actual own problem with it is they filmed it all on a phone, and I felt that was a little gimmicky that kind of took me out of the movie every once in a while. They would have just filmed it like a normal movie. I think I would have liked it even more. But despite that, I think it's a great story. It's institutionalized.
Institutionalized.
Yeah, institutionalized.
I got you.
Against her own will, because they, you know, like, basically trick her into signing something, and then because the insurance companies and stuff want to make money off of her being in there. And this is like a real kind of thing that could happen. A scary thought that you could be this. Not only that, she also has a stalker. And the stalker kind of works...
And he's played by Josh from Blair Witch.
Yeah, and... creepier. He, like, works his way into working for the Institute, and he's, like, giving her medicine, and he's just being a total fucking creeper. But this movie really plays on...
You also have to wonder, though, is he really there?
Yeah, is he really there? Is she really crazy? Like, this movie really plays on it. It's a good horror take of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, in a sense. And that movie's kind of a horror movie in its own right, but yeah, I don't know. I really liked them.
Horns up for Maurice the Beast.
Yeah, Maurice. How you doing, buddy?
I will be talking my opinions on Unsane a little bit later, because it is on my list, but it's a lot higher on my list than it is on your list.
Oh, it is. I'm not going to disagree with you on that.
Because we all like horror, and we don't all have to have the same opinions, guys. It is okay to have different opinions about movies. It's okay if you like something that we don't like, or we like something that you don't like. We're all horror fans. It's all good.
And like I said, most of these have the same star rating. My Unsane star rating is probably the same as yours. This is order of preference, but I might even change that later.
Oh, Callie, I am so excited for Happy Death Day. Do you? Happy Death Day came out last year. And it's one of those ones where I really loved it, and I've watched that on Blu-ray so much now that I think I love it even more now, and I'm stoked for this.
It's a silly movie, but I love it.
Love Happy Death Day.
Sometimes I just like a silly, fun movie.
Sometimes that's what I'm looking for.
Even
now, what
if it
is
a
next on my
rip-off
list?
of Groundhog's Day.
So the next one on my list, and once we get into, like, the top 10, are we in our top 10 yet? No, not quite.
Not quite.
At this point, a lot of them I feel very similar about. So again, it's really, really hard to rank. But my next one's Suspiria. I love the original one because it's a very visual experience. The original Suspiria, like I said, with another movie, even though it's got a gorgeous score, you can watch it without the sound and you're going to understand exactly what's going on. It's very visual. The new one, though, they took advantage of the fact that it is a little story light, and particularly the villains are not really developed in the area, like their motivations and all their background isn't really shared with us. In the new one, they share it in great detail, and being a pagan, I really appreciated that. I don't need all pagans in movies to be heroes, but I want well-developed villains. And the villains in this, the witches, are so well developed, and they tell you right up front that they are witches. So that's a lot different than the original Suspiria. That is not a mystery. And we see the inner workings of this coven and how they're divided. It is very long. It is very slow paced. It looks very different than the original. It has a very bleak look to it. It's so good though, and there's so many people playing more than one character, and there's a lot here to unpack. So it's definitely one to watch more than once. It's one I've watched a few times now. It's really good though, and it's so multi-layered. I could really go on about Suspiria a lot just because the story is so rich with and the performances are so good. And on top of that, it's got wonderful horror aspects. Definitely, one of the kills in there was
Saw that kill.
And that ending. I won't spoil the ending for you, but it's jaw dropping.
I haven't finished Suspiria. Tried to watch it, but I was super tired going into it, and I got pretty far in it. I was enjoying it. I love the original one. That, speaking of like Manny earlier, the original is such an art like piece of work, beautiful art. And so I need to finish this. I haven't got around to doing it yet. It might even make my list. Saw enough of it to know that I liked it.
Zachary says he didn't like the original one. Should you bother with? When I saw the original Suspiria, I didn't like it. And I've learned to appreciate it as a visual ride. But this is a very rich story. It's a very well done story. There is a lot of layers to this. It's really a deep story. It has a lot to say, especially about women and women coming together. It's very female empowerment movie, and I really liked it. I think there's some really powerful lines in this movie. It's brilliant. It's really, really well done.
Raider says
the dancing sucked.
Well, it sucked for one girl, that's for sure.
Oh yeah,
it sucked for her.
They did all the choreography and stuff themselves, and that's one thing I also love about this one. I actually think I like the remake better than the original. Again, they did so much with it. Like even the dancing seemed so arbitrary in the original, and in this one the dancing is crucial to the story. It's crucial to the coven, and that was really interesting to me. This whole world is really interesting, and Dario Argento did create a dense world because he did make sequels, loose sequels to Suspiria, but we really have that whole world introduced to us in one movie here, and it is a very interesting and rich world, and these are very interesting characters.
Well, you would definitely need ballet to. Well, I think I haven't seen it all yet, but I felt like they had a good reason for all what they were doing with it. So, enjoyed it.
But they're both wonderful in very different ways. If you watched the original Suspiria and you wanted more story, then this is the one for you. Though I will tell you, it is slow paced and it's over an hour longer than the original. So you need to be somebody who is able to handle a slow burn.
I was just really tired as we watched it, but it wasn't bad. I was falling asleep. Watched it.
Maurice wants to know if the crow's been moving the whole time. Yeah, that's Boris the crow. He just hangs out.
Yeah. Hey, Boris. Pause that shit.
He's got Tourette's, so we have to mute him.
He never agrees with any of our picks.
Hates horror movies, but he's a pretty bird. Pretty bird.
He only likes one horror movie.
Yeah.
All right. Well, maybe we should. We're halfway through our top 20. Why don't we take a little break to get some Razzies out of there? Some ones that
good stretch.
Gonna enjoy.
Oh boy. Are we doing this? Are we doing this?
Yeah, we're doing.
Oh, buckets of.
Let's go with your first one. One other one that I watched way too tired as I started and didn't get to finish, but I saw how bad it started. What's your worst?
For me, I think sometimes the worst movies are the ones you're the most excited for, and I was excited for the movie I'm going to tell you guys about for a good 2 fucking years. I looked forward to this. It had everybody and their fucking neighbor involved in the horror world. I just couldn't see how this could go wrong. It was based on an unfinished script by Gunnar Hansen. I just thought there's no way I'm not going to at least enjoy this movie. And the movie I'm talking about is Death House. And it's complete and utter shit. You can tell that every one of our favorite horror icons who is in this movie, they're just dying a little inside. I mean, Barbara Crampton does a great job and stuff, but the story is a fucking mess. The CGI it's bad by even like Asylum standards. It's bad by like Sharknado standards. It's bad. It's a train wreck. It's a damn train wreck. The whole thing is so awful. So awful. And I think that's what made it so bad for me, was because I was so looking forward to it, and I ended up just feeling bad that so many of my heroes were roped into something that this far below what I expect for them and what I know that they are worth.
Well, when we watched it, like I said, I didn't get through it, but that was a long time ago, and I haven't got around to finishing it because of how bad it started, and I'm going to. I don't think it's gonna be my number like worst, just by looking at it, just because I love them no matter what they're doing. They can stand in front of a green screen and just say some cheesy ass shit, and I would like that. Also, our friend is in that movie.
Oh yeah, Haley from 52 Weeks of Horror. She's in the makeup scene, which is fun. And none of the people that we love did badly in it, but they're working with shit here. Yeah. I mean, the script is a complete and total fucking mess.
I think, was it Barbara Crampton that says something like girl power, and then, but the look on her face is like...
You can just tell she's dying a little bit inside. Poor Dee Wallace. Like, a lot of them are also kind of just phoning it in. Like, you know, because you've seen them in other stuff, you know they can do better, but they're just... They know what it is. And I know they feel this way too, because I've seen Kane Hodder talk about this movie. I've seen Barbara Crampton, and they're just like, don't expect a lot from it. I mean, even our friend Haley was just like, maybe have low expectations going in.
You want something better with Barbara Crampton, and like, not movie-wise, like, amazing, but her part is Puppet Master. She was great in that. She
was great, and she's very proud of that role. Yeah.
Her role is, like, pretty much probably the best thing about that movie.
And it's also cool because she did make an appearance in the original Puppet Master. Her girl.
No, Ariel, that's not gonna happen, don't worry. Alright, this is just one that I've seen a million times. When I watched it, I was just so bored and a bit angry. For me, it was Delirium. I don't like this movie at all. I can't even tell you too much about it. It's
Delirium's my number 4, so I might just jump in with you here.
Yeah, you might even have to, because I don't know, I forgot a lot of the plot. I just remember it's stolen from so many different movies. Typical ghost story, a bunch of bros, right? Was that what it was?
Yeah,
all these bro characters.
They dare a guy to go into this supposedly haunted house, and of course you guys know, because you've seen this movie a billion times before, that it is haunted, and it's just a CGI mess, and the characters are horrible, and the story is a mess, and
it was so
for me,
boring.
It was mostly just boring, which is why it didn't rank lower for me.
Yeah, it was really boring, but almost criminally boring, and just criminally ripped off from other movies. I think that's why it reached my last number 1 spot on shit. But anyway.
I didn't enjoy it, but I didn't hate it. Like, I hated ones lower on my list. If it made me angry, it gets ranked low. And Death House, just because I was so excited, it just made me angry.
I might have to switch it up a little bit, because I saw this a long time ago too, and that's why I've kind of thankfully forgot a lot about it. But I remember at the time I was like, oh no, that's number 1 on my. But I don't know, maybe not now. It's been so long. Again, I'm not gonna watch it ever again to find out. So,
my next one is one that Lita's already mentioned in the chat. It's fucking Slenderman.
Ugh.
And Slenderman is offensive to me. It made me angry because it pisses me off when unfinished movies get released at the theater.
Snowman.
Yeah, like Snowman. It wasn't fucking done, and they released it, and that is insulting to us as movie fans. Like, what, we're not gonna notice that you didn't finish your fucking movie? Mm-hmm. You think that you have the right to take my money when you didn't even do the work to finish the movie. And the reason why is because there's a lot of controversy, because there was a Slenderman real life murder where these 2 girls killed in the name of the Slenderman or whatever. Yeah, and there's a lot of protesting, so they removed a giant chunk of this movie, which is why almost everything you see in the trailers isn't in the movie. But they didn't film a new movie. They took a giant chunk of it out and then just threw in some, like, filler.
And rearranged a couple of things, so it almost made sense. It doesn't, but, like, they were like, oh, maybe it will, and horror fans won't notice.
It's choppy, it doesn't make sense, it's complete bullshit, it's CGI, it's awful. I can't even see somebody who's a creepypasta fan being a fan of this. It is garbage.
I know there are a few people who did like it, so if there are, I say stay clear of it. Unfortunately, there's never been really a good Slenderman movie, and we might not ever get one. What up, Entertainment Wizard? Already.
And it's not the actress's fault. You know, the lead gal, she's been in quite a few horror movies, Conjuring, and then the other one is the friend of Sabrina on the new show. It's the script. It's the script, it's the directing, it's the editing. It's a fucking mess, and it's insulting that they released this. At most, they maybe should have released it on VOD. But it is insulting that they expected our money for this. And it's insulting that we gave them our money for this.
Yeah. God, we had the movie pass at the time. Back before that became such a joke.
In answer to Fell's proxy sessions, it's worse than the Bye Bye Man. At least in my opinion. You guys sound off in the chat what you think. And welcome, Entertainment Wizard. Good to see you, man.
I'd say Kill Slenderman and Bye Bye Man with fire. I don't know which
one's
worse,
they can go get a fucking timeshare together as long as I never have to see them again.
That was my number 3, but we might as well just jump in there with you.
We have a lot of similar ones. We hate a lot of similar.
I'm gonna go with my other one, though. The Day of the Dead reboot of remakes.
And that's in my bottom 10 too. And not as low as you, but I might as well jump on in.
It's garbage.
And I feel bad. See, guys, this is how you know you can trust me. This is how you know you can trust me, because my cousin, he did work on this. It was his original idea, and it got so changed in the process that he asked to have his name taken off of it. But yeah, my cousin worked on this movie too.
He's one of
and
the
this
writers.
movie sucks.
He's one of the writers, but he didn't want any of the credit, so he's like, whoever, because they changed it. Bub, like the coolest zombie of all time. Day of the Dead is actually my favorite of the original trilogy of George Romero. I love Day of the Dead. It's, however, never gotten a good remake like the other two have. I love the Savini remake of the original Night of the Living Dead. I loved the Snyder.
Zack Snyder?
Yeah, Zack Snyder remake of Dawn of the Dead. I love those. I don't necessarily love them more than the originals. They're great, and I thought, okay, cool. Now we're gonna get a great remake of Day of the Dead. It wasn't good. It was like puking, wall-crawling zombies. Then we got another remake of Day of the Dead, even worse.
Yeah, I know Seth told me the original idea is he wanted to have a reason for why Bub is different, why Bub retains some humanity. And the original idea was that he was the boyfriend of the girl, and because he loves her, he retains a bit of humanity. Well, they changed it around to where he's a creepy stalker rapist.
Yeah, he's more interested in raping her than eating her brains. Like, that is his drive for rape is what gives him humanity? Because I wouldn't say rape is a humanity quality.
No, it really isn't. It's
an
more,
animalistic...
It's obsession.
It's an animalistic obsession
and control.
Of bullshit. Yeah, he tries to rape her right when the zombies outbreak happens.
And so you hate him. And you don't want to hate the Bub character, but you hate him in this.
Yeah, she escapes the rape simply because he gets bitten by zombies, because it happens to happen at the exact same time. I guess that's the best time a zombie apocalypse can happen for you, when someone's trying to rape you and they eat the rapist. Then he goes after her, like he follows, like finds out where she's kind of at, goes to a military base. This is the one part I kind of out of context would have liked about the movie. He goes all Solid Snake, and he like crawls through the vents and under these tanks, and he's like breaking into the military. And I thought that was kind of funny to see a zombie doing all that shit. Made me just kind of wish there was zombie DLC for Metal Gear Solid. But yeah, his plan is to rape her, and that's disgusting. And
it's also bad. I mean, it would just be an average shitty movie, but the fact that it's called Day of the Dead,
that's insulting.
And
so
that
much.
is such a beloved franchise. We love the original, we love the franchise, we love George Romero as a creator, and the fact that they put that title on it makes it. That's where I get angry, where I get offended, because it really does not even deserve to be in the same league as the original Day of the Dead.
No.
Not even close.
If it was just called maybe Zombie Bloodline or
Rape
honestly, Zombie, then,
if this was a sequel to Mother's Boys, I mean, it does have the same actor in it. The guy plays Bub. I might actually kind of like it.
Yeah. But, yeah, don't spit on it.
Yeah. Especially since, we just lost George Romero recently and stuff. This felt very insulting.
Very. Alright, what do you got next?
What do I got next, Danny boy?
Got Gory.
So, yeah, in case you're wondering, there's a theme here with me. If I feel like a movie isn't finished, or they've cheated me by tricking me into watching an unfinished movie, I get angry. And one of the ones that pissed me off the fucking most was The Devil and Father Amworth.
Oh, yeah.
I fucking hated that. So this is by William Friedkin, who did The Exorcist. And obviously he's trying to just make a little more, cash off of, his Exorcist fame. So he's goes into this saying he's giving you a documentary of this guy who's done more exorcisms than anybody else, Father Amworth, and they're going to show you a real live one. And there's tons of buildup. And then you finally get to it, and it's bullshit. It's such bullshit. It's so obviously faked. And then afterwards, you never see anything really interesting. It's just really bad acting. Nothing flies around, nothing cool like that. I mean, it's supposedly a documentary. But then he tells you that he meets the woman who was possessed after the fact in a church. And then scary shit did happen.
He didn't bring his camera that time.
Oh,
though.
But he didn't bring his camera.
So there's a little bit of a dramatic reenactment, but...
And it's so offensive, because he is so full of shit. And I don't like being lied to. I don't like being tricked. And I don't like unfinished movies. This movie pissed me off. It's complete and total dog shit. not even that entertaining, even if it was a fake movie. But the fact that they're trying to call this a documentary, that they're trying to get people to see it, and there's nothing to see, it gets a big all thumbs down, kill it with fire from me.
It was not quite as low as yours, but almost, as you can see on mine. It's still shit. That and Demon House, which I felt were fairly similar. They're just like these, there's possessions and shit, and stories are not true. They're just bullshit. They like to try and claim that, there's some truth to this. No.
I've seen his show, so with Demon House, I kind of got what I expected. But I expected more from William Friedkin.
That's the only reason why I think I didn't like Demon House much. It's like a polished turd and a non-polished turd, but I like him because he gave us The Exorcist. I didn't mind seeing him. I know what he was full of shit as it was, but the other guy from his show, I hate his show, and I hate him. I had to look at his douchey ass the whole time.
He is.
It was just as bad, but then he's the douche the whole time. So. But I hate both of those movies.
Yeah.
So there we go.
So next on yours?
I'm gonna just go with The Manor because it seems like that's kind of next on yours since we did.
That is next on mine. Oh god damn, The Manor.
The Manor. I was looking forward to this movie just because I don't know. I love when there's cheesy horror movies that have a pro wrestler on it, and Kevin Nash promptly right on the poster.
I love how excited you were for it too. You're like, it's at Walmart. We have to get it.
Well,
like,
I don't want. Yeah.
It's gonna suck.
Oh, thankfully.
But the most offensive part about The Manor is, like you said, it is so poorly marketed.
Yeah, it shows this big thing of Kevin Nash on it. It shows like this cool looking slasher character up front in front of this house, The Manor.
You guys go check out the poster, you'll see what we're talking about.
And the poster makes it look like at least, this is going to be cheesy fun at least. Like some good stuff. Maybe not quite Victor Crowley good or whatever, but still.
Yeah, it looks like kind of like the Harvester graphic novels or Victor Crowley or
something that I could at least enjoy, maybe on a low level. But nope, it's not even remotely like the poster. It's crap. There's a lot of incest going on where her and her cousin love each other, and then cult kind of shit happens, and these carnies are hanging around them.
We're open-minded. We ain't that open-minded.
It was just really weird, and
you can love your brother or your cousin, but don't love brother.
No, don't get me wrong. I'll defend to this day that Sleepwalker is amazing. Sleepwalkers is great.
Oh wait, that's my favorite one.
That's fun incest right there. But...
Yeah, but they also have glowing purple jizz.
Yeah, they're not humans either.
Oh,
so...
Felix loved The Manor.
Oh.
He says it wasn't that bad.
Anyways, it's on your list, so
we still love you, Felix.
I was the funniest part about the story is I remember looking through our Plex to watch it, and finally watched it, and it's like, oh, that's dog shit. You didn't kind of left. You're like,
I was like, and I'm out.
But then later on, I think a month later, I was like, oh, let's watch The Manor. I want to see that. I've been because I knew it was on our Plex for a while before I even watched the first time, and then you're like, you already watched The Manor. I'm like, did? And then you kind of had to remind him, oh yeah, that was shit. That sucks so much. Damn, that's kind of disappointing because I was looking forward to The Manor. Now that you've reminded me what The Manor was.
But yeah, there's weird cults and a lot of drama, and then it just wasn't good.
And
I liked The Lodgers. There's a lot of incest in that too. So I guess sometimes I don't mind incest.
Brewster loved The Lodgers.
That's
his favorite movie.
Slight segue. Brewster, our dog, never watches movies with us. Never pays attention to the TV. We watched The Lodgers. He was glued to the screen the entire time. There's a picture of it on our Instagram.
He wouldn't come cuddle us or anything, or Brocky. He went to the foot of our bed, tilted his head, and just was hypnotized.
And when we tried to pet him, he was like, hey, I'm watching The Lodgers here.
Yeah. I don't want to ever watch it again because if he's not obsessed with it, it'll be a disappointing thing to reenact. But God, he was so into that movie. The Lodgers is approved by Brewster, and it didn't make either my list of bad or good. It's just kind of in there. It's a weird incest ghost story type movie.
And what we're talking about favorites of the family this year, Laws's favorite by far was Horror and Hamsters, which is a horror anthology with some really goofy segments in it, and it's mixed in with segments of hamsters. He loved that, and he loved Scooby-Doo and the Gourmet Ghost. He said it was one of the best Scooby-Doo movies to come out in a long time.
All right, speaking of Scooby-Doo, though, I have to say, this is on my list, not on hers, but I fucking hated Daphne and Velma. Sorry, but that movie is so crap.
Fair enough.
Not fun.
Fair enough.
The The main bad guy at the end was just it was so hokey. Daphne and Velma, they're barely even remotely like how they've ever been. I really didn't like Daphne at all. Velma,
I missed Scooby and Shaggy.
Velma was okay, but still, wait, I don't remember even getting a Jinkies from her. I don't think there was one.
I don't think there was.
She couldn't even
or
say
a Jeepers from Daphne.
Yeah, and I don't think either of them said that. And I really hated Daphne in that. I didn't like the bad guys. I didn't like the plot. I didn't like the weird futuristic school. Especially because...
It's very low budget. I watched it with Lulz, who's a really big Scooby fan, and I won't say we loved it, but it was okay.
Yeah.
But you hated it, and I definitely see why it is horribly flawed, and I think as a Scooby fan, it doesn't quite deliver.
I was looking kind of forward to watching it. I think that's the reason why I also...
I wanted it to be good, because I had a female filmmaker, you know, and it was cool to maybe see how the girls met, but...
I wasn't expecting much. I just thought it was going to be fun. Not fun for me at all.
But I didn't hate it. I did enjoy it. It had some cute moments.
All right. Fair enough. What else do you have on there? Let's kind of wrap it up here, though. Our shit list.
You're a wrap it up.
Anything else you really want
to... One I don't really even want to talk about because I hated it that much is it's called Why Hide, or it's also called Christmas Presents. It's on Shudder. It just has horrible characters. It tries to be funny and it's not. It takes like almost an hour before anything horror-like happens. It's just watching these really douchey people have their Christmas party, and it's awful. It's on Shudder. Don't watch it. It is a complete and total waste of your time. And the other one that is on my list, and I really thought I was going to enjoy this as in a maybe so bad it's good way, it's The Witch Files. The poster is very much ripped off of The Craft. Oh God, guys. Oh God. This was a found footage. It is completely just awful, and not even funny awful. I wanted funny awful. But it's witches as all hell, which I expected. But it's bad.
I didn't watch
You have giant witches and stuff once. You know, I accept that from Ant-Man. I don't accept that from my witch movie. It's bad, guys. It's really bad. It's not enjoyable bad. It's just bad.
Let's see. You had those. One I saw that I don't think you watched was Krampus Origins. Ugh. We'll be yelling at that guy later for that movie. Supposed to be staying away from this crap. We had a big intervention for him last year. We couldn't be bothered. We kind of had to take December off this year. Oh, I'll probably get around to yelling at him for that. We both had Foxtrap.
It was just mostly really boring.
There's also one of those movies like Delirium where it's just a big rip-off of everything else. Like, oh, they pulled a prank, it went out of control. Later on, someone comes back for very boring, very stolen.
We both hated Midnight Man too. And just really, it has one cool kill in it, but
the very
beyond
beginning.
that, it sucks.
I love the first 5 minutes of the Midnight Man, and then after that, it's basically bye-bye man. Open House was crap for Netflix goes.
Oh God, and that sucks because it's really well made and it has good actors in it, but it's a waste of time. It is a complete and total waste of your time.
Bone Hill Road is a werewolf film that was very, very low budget, and I don't want to shit on it too much because it was shoestring budget, like really bad.
Yeah.
But my biggest problem with it, the werewolves actually look kind of cool, but they forget about the werewolves for
the acting of their serial killer is
yeah.
cringy.
There's a serial killer where it almost forgets it's a werewolf movie, and he kills Linnea Quigley real quick. Like, she's in it, and I don't know. The fact that she's in it, I'll mention it. It was probably her worst movie of all time, and I don't know. I wanted to like it a little more, but if they would have stuck with the werewolves, I probably would have liked it, despite how low quality everything was. They just forgot it was a werewolf movie for the longest time, and
we also hated Snake Outta Compton. It should have been really fun. It just really wasn't. I don't mind it being low budget, but it just wasn't fun, and that kind of movie needs to be fun to work. We also hated Living Among Us, which I was kind of looking forward to.
It was a found footage vampire movie.
It was lame.
Another one that should be...
Tales from the Hood 2.
Yeah, Tales of the Hood 2 is kind of the same thing with Snake Outta Compton, where I expected it to be good stuff. Granted, I love the original Tales from the Hood.
The wraparound story in Tales from the Hood 2 is awful, too.
Yeah, that's some spot on the end. It's not good.
But I like the original, so I was kind of looking forward to it.
That's why it was like kind of a disappointment for me. But then again, I wasn't asking like 20 years later for another Tales from the Hood, so...
Yeah, and it had Keith David in it, and I thought, it was going to be good.
And I like Keith David, and I don't think he did a bad job per se, but what they gave him just wasn't good.
Yeah, the one with the doll, the first one was kind of funny, but it just wasn't that entertaining.
Yeah, the first story is kind of like an R-rated, Are You Afraid of the Dark thing. And I thought that was fun. And I'm like, okay, if this is the worst one, we'll be okay. It was the best one. rest were just as bad, but not even entertaining. But that,
I think we're pretty good on our bad ones.
Yeah, so let's move back up to our top 10.
Let's talk about good movies again, because I'm full of the rage, man. I'm full of the rage. Are you full of the rage?
I'm gonna go. Oh, actually, I
Despite
forgot.
all my rage, I'm still just riding.
I guess I should have mentioned. Yeah, should have said this before we went to the. But I guess my number 11 is Victor Crowley. I loved Victor Crowley. Adam Green's great. I was glad to see the Hatchet come back at the very beginning of the year, and other than the kind of the silly way of how Victor Crowley is kind of resurrected over what someone says over a phone, that was a little silly for me.
It was funny though.
But yeah,
I love how like one girl once at a book signing for him to sign her chest, and this guy drops dong on the book, and he's like, "What? You homophobic? Sign it!" And he's just like, "No, dude, just no."
And I love Felissa Rose being his manager. She was great. So there's a lot going on in Victor Crowley. I really like it.
And I love Laura Ortiz.
Yes, Laura Ortiz is great. We also had Danielle Harris come back in the very end for that. So she's going to be back in the series, which kind of weird 'cause she thought she was killed off. But I'm looking forward to the next one. I think this one really built up, which is going to be another trilogy, the Victor Crowley trilogy. We had the Hatchet trilogy. Now we're going to have the Victor Crowley trilogy.
It was number 21. It was pretty close to making my list. But for me, the ending was way too abrupt.
I would.
But beyond that, I did enjoy it. And I mean, we own it, and I've watched it a couple times, so it's entertaining.
Also, one of the craziest kills ever with Felissa Rose gets her arm ripped off while she has her cell phone shoved up her hoo-ha and then out of her mouth, and then the phone starts to ring.
And in response to what Callie said, yeah, it came out in festivals in 2017, Victor Crowley did, but we count things based on when they're available for wide release.
Yeah, like when anybody can watch it.
Since we didn't get to go to a festival and there wasn't that many of them, for most of us, it came out this year on VOD.
Yeah, at least
that's when we got to see
it. We need a national or intercontinental release when it comes up to the States, where anybody in the States can see it. But yeah, it was released late 2017 on festivals only. You could even go down to New Orleans and get on the boat with Adam Green and stuff. They had a cool little premiere for it there. Unfortunately, didn't make it to that. But
we do love Adam Green.
So, yeah, the guy doesn't really do any wrong by me. I was on my list. Moving on, what's your 10?
Moving on, what is my 10? So my 10 is one that you've already mentioned, and I didn't talk about it much before because I knew I would be talking about it now. Right. My number 10 was Terrifier. Terrifier, you know, the story is, it's pretty thin, but the gore is awesome. The practical effects are awesome, and I think the performance of the guy who plays Art the Clown is so good, and I think as far as movies that are actually scary this year, this movie was scary. Art is genuinely terrifying. I agree with you what you said earlier about how I really was into one of the characters who I thought was going to be our final girl and didn't quite make it. Really liked her the best, but I also like how the whole story wraps around.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it, and I liked Art in his previous incarnation in All Hallows Eve, but this was so much better. And it feels like kind of like a throwback, almost Grindhouse movie. It feels dirty. It has that kind of feeling you get like when you watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre, where it almost feels real. It almost has that snuff film to it, and it's grisly, but I really enjoyed it.
Captain Sexy Pants did not like it. Sorry, Sexy Pants.
It's not for everybody.
No, it's like I said.
You guys are not going to agree with everything on our list, but hopefully, we still cool, right? We still cool.
We respect your opinions as long as we all love horror.
Yes, we all love horror, guys.
For me, my number 10 is, for some people, probably too low on my list. For some people who don't like the mainstream, probably shouldn't even be on my list. But it's A Quiet Place. I love The Quiet Place. Yeah, it's, pretty big mainstream movie. The monsters don't look great, but I love the whole idea. And
they remind me of the Monsters in Science.
And what's his name from The Office is really big right now, and that's cool.
Josh Krasinski.
Yeah, he got
John Krasinski. I can't remember his. I think it's John. He just won a Slash and Cast Best Actor. We presented that.
Now he's like perceived as this badass with his.
Because he's doing that role that Tom Cruise had. It's an action thing.
Yeah.
You guys probably know. I don't know. I don't watch a lot of action stuff, but it's a show on Amazon.
It's cool. I liked him, and it seemed like when The Office ended, he disappeared for a little while.
Jack Reacher. There we go.
Yeah, he disappeared for a little while, but now he's back in. Oh, I thought
he's sexy.
And
he's got like that sexy dad thing going on.
originally he didn't quite want to do a horror thing, but he read it and he's like, no, I want to not only star in this, but I want to direct it. And
Yeah, they approached him with the script, the idea, and they're like, do you want to do this? He's like, I'm not really into horror. And then he read it. He's like, this is actually really good. In fact, I want to direct this. And then he talked to his wife, Emily Blunt, and they're like, oh, this friend of ours should play your wife. Like, it would be a good opportunity for her. And then she reads it and she's like, yeah, so you know how we already cast my friend? I really want to be in this. And so, but it actually works really well because they are husband and wife and they have incredible chemistry, like that scene where they're dancing together.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go into it too much because it actually is on my list a little higher up. So, finish up with your thoughts. I'm going to try and stay quiet on this.
It was really good. I liked it just because new way to play with things. Like we've had, like earlier with Bird Box, you can't see things, you can't smell things, whatever. You can't make a lot of noise. So it has its own problems too. Like, why don't they just kind of live by the waterfall? Or maybe they should have been better parents at the beginning of the movie, not leaving their youngest kid walking around behind them making a lot of noise. But I don't know. I enjoyed it. I kind of liked it. It almost felt Cloverfield-y to me. Like, it almost could be in that universe.
To Starman and everyone, I know you guys are talking about Truth or Dare a lot. It will not make this list or our worst list. It was just not a movie we were really into, but we did do a review of it a while back, so you can check that out.
The only thing I can say is it's closer to my shit list.
Yeah, we didn't recommend it, but it wasn't bad enough to be on our worst.
It just was. It was what I expected from it. So
Yeah,
about it.
It's a modern teen Blumhousey movie, and that, you know, if you're into it, you're gonna like it. You know, I liked the teen movies when I was a teenager in the 90s, like the Kevin Williamson ones. And so even though a lot of critics were like, it's a mindless teen movie, I'm like, that's kind of my thing. So right now, if you're into the Blumhousey teen movies, that's going to be for you. It wasn't for me, but I'm old now. So that. Hey Starman and River Vixen 9.
I'll always be more of the 80s generation of horror, but I still like modern stuff too.
You weren't even born until halfway through the 80s.
But I don't know. I mean, I wasn't a real big on the teen movies in the 90s either. Mostly because they brought us things like Halloween Resurrection. But
yeah,
I love Scream.
That's like
obviously.
later though.
I love obviously Scream.
Halloween Resurrection was the 2000s.
Yeah, but
so we had H2 on the 90s.
It was well, that's the thing. Scream is like cool MTV. But then where MTV was by the time Halloween came out is like the MTV when we all stopped kind of watching.
I guess that's just my defense for people who like Truth or Dare. I like a lot of movies from the 90s that a lot of people consider to be shit, but I was a teenager then, and those movies were made for me. Yeah. So,
I don't know.
Truth or Dare isn't a movie that's made for me as an audience. But if you're young, you know, it may just be up your alley.
River Vixen wants to know what happened to the Bubby live stream.
I have actually talked to Queenie and Laura about that recently. We are trying to... I'm either going to come up with a schedule for us, because it's been a little disorganized, or we might just do it entirely on Horror Addicts. But we will be continuing that.
Yeah, like I said, I felt like The Quiet Place kind of fit almost in the Cloverfield universe. It's not, but it felt like it. I agree, though. It was good, but it doesn't need a good standalone little world. All right, moving on.
And Zachary, I know we're not old, but for some people, anybody older than Logan Paul is old. So by their standards, we're like dinosaurs. But
fucking Paul. All right, what do you got for number 9?
I don't know. I gotta look at my phone. Okay, now we're getting into ones that a lot of the ones in our top 10 we each have, but they're in different places. So the next one I'm going to mention is one that is higher up on your list, but it is my number 9, and that is The Ritual. The Ritual we saw towards the beginning of the year. It is based on a book by Adam Novell, and in that case, I think both the book and the movie are really good. I think they did a fantastic job of adapting the book to screen. They changed a lot of things, but it worked. It's a really good, it's about a bunch of guys. It's nearly an entirely male cast, and it's creepy. It's very atmospheric. It's original. I did not see the end coming. And yeah, it's a movie I think that it's going to have a full range of emotions for you, because there are parts of it that are very emotional. But it also is genuinely scary, and I think it's, one of those movies that you want to watch alone in the dark. It's not like a movie you pop in when you're having beer and pizza with your friends. It's a movie that you watch to be scared.
Yeah. I will talk a little bit more about it later.
Look.
Alright, I'm gonna go with one you've already talked about. My favorite zombie film of this, and just thought it was a great adaptation of a short film was Cargo. I love it. I love what he does at the very end. They has pretty much the end of this movie is the short film.
Yeah.
And that's, for me, is just one of the coolest things I think I've ever seen in a zombie film. So.
That short film was like one of the few zombie things I'd ever watched where it was just like, it breaks your heart, and the movie is a feature-length version of it.
And like other zombie movies, it shows you the dangerous man in a world like that where men can be just as worse, if not like, or just as bad, if not worse, than the zombies themselves. And I don't know, it was fresh, it was cool. I also like the little cool, like,
It's fresh and it's cool. We're so from the 90s.
Yeah, I just like that they have, like, in case you're infected, this is what you do medically, and it's just a spike to, like, grab in your head and kill yourself.
It's just suicide pen.
Yeah, basically. It looks all nice and medical, like, oh, this might save you, or no.
And then they have the watch, too, that tells you how much time they have left, which worked really well for the feature length.
Yeah,
and it had an interesting score, and they added a whole other layer with the native tribes.
And just the scene where, like, they goes out on the boat, and doesn't seem like what he goes to get, but he, like, kind of lies to his wife of how safe it was, because she didn't want her to worry. But then later, she's like, oh, well, I can go out to the boat and get this stuff, and, yeah.
I think Cargo is, as far as, a lot of horror movies have that kind of urban legend warning in it. And Cargo, the urban legend warning is, be honest with your spouse, especially if it's zombie apocalypse.
I know he didn't want her to worry about what he did, but he should have been like, yeah, don't go out.
And the other thing I would say is, if you're married in the zombie apocalypse, the most romantic thing is staying alive, guys. You don't need to go get presents and stuff. Just try to stay alive. Bronco Juggalo's here, and Horror DVD Devil, welcome.
What you guys doing? Redneck Zombies, oh, that's the old Trauma film. I used to rent that all the time on VHS. I love how, for the blood and gore, they just had, like, bologna and, like, bacon just dripped in ketchup, and they ate it off of each other. Like, that was the flash
nasty. You nasty.
I know, but it was cool and creative for a low budget, and that was back, like, in the 80s and early 90s when low budget stuff like that had a lot more charm, felt.
As a dad, did Cargo kind of hit you in a different way? Because I know when I watch movies about mothers, that, like, since I've had a child, they hit me in like Cujo, watching it after I had a kid. Completely different experience.
Yeah, as a dad, actually, if we had a best zombie of the year by far, because he knows his time's running out and he's got to do what he got to do to get to some sort of safety.
And I think that's true love right there, because there's a lot of people in tons. You guys have seen zombie movies. There's tons of zombie movies where the family just decides they're all going to kill each other. They're all going to just take pills or shoot each other. And
there's even a family in the movie.
This is someone who loves his kid enough that he's kind of willing to put her into an unknown situation to trust a complete stranger. It's really scary.
Which, yeah, he befriends...
Just so she has a chance.
He befriends another kid, an older kid.
Yeah,
but just...
he'd rather her have a chance, even if it's really scary to hand your kid off to someone. And, a lot of these people who kill their families, they're not doing it out of hate. They're doing it out of love, because they don't want their kids to experience the horror that the world has become. They want like one family in this movie, they have like a birthday party and they make it really fun because they don't want their kids to live in a horror movie.
Yeah, but that's the final hurrah before.
It's really scary in this that he is just trying to find somebody. He's got like, I think, less than 48 hours that he trusts with the most important thing in the world.
The longer he goes, the more the symptoms are really taking over, but I gotta find a way.
Yeah,
that's what I liked about it. What do you got next?
Let me take a look, Daniel Bartholomew. Okay, my next one, and this is actually going to be my next movie review, guys. So I'm going to film that tomorrow. My next one really was a huge surprise to me because it is a sequel to a movie that I did not like. It's The Endless. It's the sequel to Resolution, and we saw Resolution. It was after Crypticon, and everybody at Crypticon was like, you guys have to see Resolution. It's so good. And we watched it, and we were just like, yeah. I don't get it. We were not impressed. The Endless actually has made me like that movie. I can go back and I can watch that movie now and I can enjoy it. I love the world they've built. The Endless, if you haven't heard about it, you can watch it on Netflix. It is about two brothers who were raised in a cult. They were raised in a commune cult. And they left. They got away. And the cult has reached out to them, and they go back and they start to wonder if all the stuff that they've told themselves since they left is it's fake. You know, they were brainwashed by the cult. If it actually might be real, if this deity they believe in might actually exist, because some strange things happen. And I also love this movie so much because not only is it a sequel to Resolution, but if you love their, I love their second movie, Spring. I love Spring so much, and I can see how Spring also ties into this world, which is something I'm going to go into on my review. But the performances are great. It's so incredibly original, and it's visually just impressive. It's a gorgeous film. I was really blown away by The Endless. I hadn't every year, you know, and this is why I love horror so much, because horror is the only genre that ever surprises me. You know, I watch action movies and I get an action movie. I watch romance movies and I get a romance movie. But every so often with horror, you know, everyone says horror movies are always the same, but horror is the only genre that ever surprises me. Endless surprised me. I'd never seen anything like this before, and I was really blown away.
I liked it a little more than Resolution. Not quite as much as Spring, but I thought it was really good.
I like Spring more, but I do like The Endless. And now I like Resolution. I didn't like it before.
I do. It's one of those movies where I think it enhances previous movie verse. Same way like I felt when I saw Paranormal Activity. That made me like the first one a little more.
And I have to agree with Zach, even though, like I said, I didn't initially like Resolution, I had seen that going into this, and I do agree with what Zach said. You do need to watch Resolution first to understand this one, but if you finish it and you're not impressed, still go watch The Endless, because I think it really expands the world in such a way that you can... the reason I didn't like Resolution is because about halfway through, it becomes not what I expected it to be. You know, I didn't know what I was getting into with that. With The Endless, I knew exactly kind of what I was getting into, and it delivered and then some. But it also helped me to better understand this world and to appreciate Resolution more. Whereas Resolution, I don't know, when I first watched it, I felt like it was like a little unfinished. But now with the sequel, it's been fully developed.
And it's kind of like, because they're outside of the cult, they haven't been living the best. So they're kind of tempted to go back to kind of see, they were promised, you know, in a sense, a better life through the cult, and they want to just check it out, whatever. They get sucked into somewhat of a loop. And that's kind of the whole thing. I liked it. It didn't quite make my list, but I thought it was really good.
I absolutely would love to see more films in this universe, too. It's very unique and creepy. And... you know, we also have been seeing a lot of like loop storylines, and it does have that, but it's not a Groundhog Day ripoff. It's not nowhere even close to that. It's so original. It's very Lovecraftian, and all of Moorhead and Benson's films are very Lovecraftian. I think if you're a fan of H.P. Lovecraft, this is a must watch for you.
I like it. And I want them to make. Resolution was like back when they really didn't have a whole lot of money and stuff, and they've gotten more money as they've gotten better.
They even have clips from Resolution in this, which is really just really cool.
And I don't think Resolution was bad because of the money. It's just the story wasn't quite as interesting. But I think now it's gotten better, and they're telling great stories. They do have great budgets usually behind their stories. I thought the Spring had great,
creative and original.
And what money they do have, they use it well. I feel. So I want to see more from them. Definitely do. And
it's probably one of my favorite indie films. It's really good.
All right, so my number 8.
And yeah, Zach, that scene you're talking about, so good. The deaths are really hard to count in this one, but there will be blood.
My number 8 is a little more crazy Cage than Mandy gave me, and that's Mom and Dad. I just love the crazy shit going on in this movie.
That's my number 6, so I'm just going to jump in with you because the ranking is kind of arbitrary anyway.
Yeah, it's pretty close. But yeah, I love Mom and Dad. I love the performances by everybody in it. Kids did great. We even went on to like kind of see like some of them talking about it like on some of their interviews and talk shows, and those were crazy and fun to watch too.
Yeah, everyone talked about how like they loved the Crazy Cage and Mandy. I feel like you get so much more in Mom and Dad, and then you also get Crazy Lance Hendrickson trying to stab Nicolas Cage in the butt with a knife. Him in the ass. Yeah, he does. It had a great soundtrack. The kids were great in it. Selma Blair is funny in it. You can enjoy it for its surface level and like a horror comedy, but it does have layers in it. We talked about that a lot in our review. My first watching of it, I didn't know what to think of it because the ending is very abrupt, but it's settled with me, and I feel like I understand the movie, and it resonates with me, particularly as a parent.
Half the soundtrack is amazingly good. The other half is very key. Why it is a lot of dubstep shit I hate, but it's the point. That's the young generation's songs. Really
As parents, we're supposed to be annoyed.
Yeah, it's doing its job. It's perfect the way it is. No, I don't like it. I'm not supposed to like it.
And it's one of those few films that I think can resonate both with people who are parents and both with people who are like younger children, like teenagers.
Oh, and way before like whatever the audio virus takes to hold a Cage, they show some flashbacks of when he was young, and he was fucking nuts then too. And I just love it. Their family is like kind of having some trouble. He goes fucking crazy, builds a pool table, but then just demolishes it out of like anger. And good Cage in this. Lance Henriksen, like I said, he's crawling through a car to try and kill his kid, while Lance Henriksen also crawling through the car, stabbing him in the ass with a knife. And it's just that alone, you need to see that scene, let alone the rest of the movie.
Yeah, and it's dark. I mean, it's funny, but it also is way dark. But I loved it. I thought it was. I've watched it numerous times since it's come out, because it came out pretty early last year.
And
also, really quick, I want to say hi to Groovy Fox, and I have to ask. Horror DVD asked if we'd seen Dead Shack. It's on our list. There's only like I think 15 movies left that we want to watch before the Oscars. But let me know what you think of that, because that's one I need to watch still.
But I don't know, like you said, it's dark. Not everybody wants to kill every kid. They just want to kill their
just
kids.
Their own.
I mean, if someone gets in the way of that, they'll hurt them. But that's not their goal.
But like, there's a scene where Selma Blair's character, her sister gives birth, and her sister immediately wants to kill her newborn baby, and she's horrified.
Everybody has to hold.
You can't do that.
You gotta hold the pregnant woman who just gave birth like back, because she's like, give me the baby.
But then she gets home. She rushes home because she wants to protect her kids. But then it clicks. It's like the sound wave thing that clicks in, and then there's her and Nicolas Cage finally repairing their marriage through joining together to kill their children. And
when you're not around your kid, you're not thinking that. That's why she wants to get to her kids to protect them. People are throwing their baby strollers in front of her as she's driving home. It's dark, and it goes there. It goes there.
But it's good. And if you didn't like it the first time, I definitely say it's one that's worth a rewatch.
I liked it the first time, but I think I loved it even more the second time and third time. Well, it's pretty high on my list with number 8.
Like I said, the first time I watched it, I wasn't even sure if I liked it. And I've watched it a few times since then. And yeah, now it's one of my favorites of the year. Right. And I haven't seen Terrified yet. I really need to see that one too. It's on my list because, I've heard great things. So I need to see that. Yeah.
What do you got next?
Well, the next one you can jump on in because we had the same ones just in reverse order.
Okay, yeah.
So the next one originally was actually really high on my list, and it's one that kind of got dropped down with a rewatch, but it was The Strangers Prey at Night, which I have to say was the most fun we had at the theater this year.
My second most fun.
Yeah, I had a great time seeing that with you. It was really fun, and I went into that with low expectations because I'm not a huge fan of The Strangers.
I don't really like The Strangers, the first movie, that much. I don't think it's bad. But I feel like the victims are too much the victim. They don't fight back. The girl's standing right there, like, laughing at him as they've blown up his car. They've made it very clear they're going to kill him. He's got a knife. I'm sorry, if that was me, I would run the 10 feet and I would be putting that knife right into her.
And that's what's so frustrating. And in this one, I love the soundtrack. I love how it's filmed. I love the characters. And these characters do fight back. And they're not fighting back in an unrealistic way. I mean, it takes a while, obviously, for kind of
get pushed to that
limit, but once they do, it's balls to the wall. And I thought it was really good. I like Strangers Prey at Night more than I like.
I agree. I like it way better than the original.
And I love that lead girl Bailey. She's been on Holliston. She's been in lots of things. She was in Don't Be Afraid of the Dark, I think, the one with the little fairies.
Oh, nice.
But I definitely want to see her in more horror movies. I think she's a potential future scream queen.
Indeed. Already impressed me in horror. I want to see more of her. I want to see even more Strangers now. Like, I wasn't even, like, super excited for a Strangers 2. Like, I like The Strangers, but I don't need another one. It's been a long time. And I saw it, and I just saw previews for it. I'm like, okay, actually, this looks pretty good. I thought it was going to be an 80s set film, like maybe a prequel. No, it's not, but it's got a very 80s vibe to it. No, I liked it. Now I'm like, you know what? I wouldn't even mind a third one.
Yeah, and there's no deeper level here. There's nothing to unpack. It's just a fun slasher movie. That's what you're in the mood for. This movie delivers. It's got the action. It's got the scares. It's got a good soundtrack, like we said. It's a good movie. It's a good slasher movie. And, like, I have to say it's better than the original. And Christina Hendrickson is good in it. I don't know if I got her name right, but Hendricks or Hendrickson.
I think it's
And
Henderson.
then the guy who was the dad in The Ring, Martin something or other,
Yeah.
he's in it. And Arnold Schwarzenegger's kid's in it.
Mhm.
Everyone does a great job. It's just a solid slasher movie. Sometimes that's all you need. It gave me what I wanted and more.
Exactly.
Yeah, that pool scene, Ben, that's
Oh,
fucking badass.
It is. It brought some life into now we can have a franchise. It was an okay movie. I liked how it had Dennis from, Sunny in Philadelphia in the original. But now we have a franchise and want to go for it from there? I'm all on board.
This is one that we bought on Blu-ray, and I've watched it a few times since, and it does have an alternate ending, but I think the one they went with theatrically was the way to go.
Yeah.
Someone also asked us in the chat, which was worse, Day of the Dead, Contagion, or Bloodline?
Bloodline.
I'm going with Bloodline.
Day
Mostly because of what they did to Bub.
Yeah, I don't want Bub to be a rapist zombie.
Yeah.
If it wasn't Day of the Dead and it wasn't Bub, it's just called Rape Zombie or Zombie Bloodline or whatever, I'd probably give it an okay pass. It wouldn't be maybe on my shit list, but it wouldn't be high on my list either. Calling it Day of the Dead and just having Rape Bub.
Tom Cruise is here. He ran all the way over here. It's Bill Pullman's kid because his last name's Schwarzenegger. I don't know. Maybe I got that wrong. I gotta look.
I don't know.
What's the kid's name? Oh, wait, no, he's right. That is Lewis Pullman. Schwarzenegger's kid's in that other movie with Bella Thorne.
Oh, okay.
All right. Okay, Bill Pullman's kid, but he was great.
Way to be on it, Tom.
Yeah.
He ran right up to tell us
Tom
that.
Cruise, he is a real hero. Like, there are real heroes among us.
He's the Mummy.
I know, right? Like, he didn't just go against the Mummy. He bitch slapped the Mummy. Remember that?
Well, the Mummy bitch slapped him.
Oh, wait, that's right. But it was
Because
still really entertaining.
His go-to move is run at something fast as he can. And then when it doesn't work, be confused and then try it again.
Yeah, as far as what Entertainment Wizard said, it's not really so much an alternate ending, it's an extended ending, but the extended ending gets almost a little supernatural, and I think it's just better just to keep it a straight slasher.
Yeah. I'm not saying that they can't come back for a third. I don't care if my slasher comes back. They look like they died and they come back. Slashers are hard to kill. They almost have a regeneration power in a sense.
With strangers, I don't want that though. I want them to.
Yeah, but I'm just saying if they come back in a third movie, don't give me much of an explanation. As far as I know, it's different people with the same masks, or they just somehow lived even though it looked like they died. I don't care. I don't need an explanation. I don't need magic involved. My imagination can fill in the rest. Give me slashers.
I miss Tom Cruise.
Yeah, we had a different Cruise Tom earlier.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise.
I think Tom Cruise needs to make some more horror movies though, because he did The Mummy.
He says The Mummy's better than Halloween 2018. No.
Interview the Vampire is better than it. I'll give you that.
Yeah, that's
Interview the Vampire's got to be one of my all-time favorites. I'll give him that. Oh boy.
Rain Man might even be better. I love Rain Man.
And Tom Cruise distracts me. Okay, the next one. Then we start to deviate a bit.
Yeah, go with your number 5. Or what do you got? Number 6 or 5?
I was wondering if I should just go my number 4. That's my number 5, and you have it up.
All right, go with your number 4 for now.
Okay, so my number 4, I'm just going to talk about it now. It could be a number 5. Like I said, the rankings are pretty arbitrary.
Yeah,
but one that Danny already mentioned, it's a lot higher on my list, was Unsane. And the reason it's so high on my list, again, the gimmick with the phone really didn't matter to me. But
it's a great story.
It's suspenseful from beginning to end. And I really didn't have high expectations for this. I really didn't think I'd be that into it. And from the beginning of the movie to the end of the credits, I was into it. Like I couldn't figure out if she was really crazy or if the guy was really there stalking her. I felt crazy myself, wondering what was real, and that is a fear of mine because once you get into one of these institutions, your word means nothing. Nobody listens to you because you're a crazy person. Exactly. And it made me think of how you read about how women were treated in the 40s. They put into these places because their husbands didn't want to deal with them, and then nobody would listen to them because they're crazy people. And so you feel for this character, but you're also kind of wondering if she is delusional. And so yeah, I was super into it. It's definitely a horror movie, which was one of the things I was reserved about. It's like, is this going to be a horror movie? Am I going to see some kills in this? Is it going to get grisly? And it does get grisly. Yeah, it is a fast-paced, just whirlwind movie. I was completely into it.
It's like I said earlier, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's, Shutter Island, stuff like that. That is a horrible fear of being like imprisoned like that and told you're insane, and like you don't even know if it's true or not. You don't know if you trust yourself. You can't trust them. You know that much, but that makes my skin kind of crawl. Like if I was stuck in a place like that, I would be doing everything I could to break out. I would find the biggest Native American I can and have him throw that water fountain through the window. Because
you're the biggest Native American I know. I don't know that many Native Americans.
I could probably break a window. But yeah. Ooh, the fear of being stuck in a crazy place like that.
But yeah, it's scary, and they really give you that feeling of claustrophobia. And they also, like another movie this year, I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. It deals very effectively with, because has been stalked and she has been victimized, and she's still recovering. And I just thought Claire Foy was fantastic in that.
All right, I'm gonna go with my number 6, Apostle. There's a lot of shit going on in this movie. Kind of old timey. It's got a really old grungy,
We had a beer.
grimy, grungy feel to it, like old school, like poor, like shantytown dirt going on in this film. Where Holt is taking off to an island that they have the land to, and they're going to have their own religious way of life, almost like dangerous Amish people. And they've kidnapped a girl, kind of by accident, but now there's a ransom involved because they need money for their island. They don't
have enough money for food because the animals, when they breed, the newborns come out messed up, and they're not growing crops.
They thought they had a for sure fire way of gonna have great crops and gonna stuff like that, which gets kind of original Wicker Man on you.
Like He Who Walks Behind the Rose.
Yeah, like there's a supernatural force in sense that's gonna guarantee this, but it needs what it needs,
and it needs blood sacrifices,
and it ain't getting it. So they're trying to get money because they don't want to be evil like a cult. They just want to be away from society.
Even though their society was founded by convicts.
Exactly, and they get evil pretty quickly, even if they didn't intend to. They do. So this man tries to go in there because that's his sister. He doesn't have the money to pay the ransom. He wants to try and find her and bring her back. He pretends to be like part of this religion and cult. Just get in there, and through some luck, he kind of makes it good with some of the people that trust him now, because they are onto them being infiltrated, but due to someone else's actions, he kind of gets to be a hero in their eyes, or they start to trust him. There's other stories going on, very plot, but still very gruesome, very violent. One of the most brutal, hard-to-watch deaths for me, and they tie this poor boy down, and they drill into his head while everybody is just kind of watching and cheering, and
it was the boy from The Lodger, so I covered Brewster's eyes.
Yeah, and he wasn't screaming the bees and stuff, but it was a very dramatic display of brutality like that, and that is real. Like people, like in a sense, used to do that. They would watch people get crushed and stoned and hung, like very gruesome public execution. I liked it a lot. There's also kind of a deity witch goddess thing in there that I thought was pretty cool. The way that they had to take on that. Like I said, that was the supernatural aspect of it. Supposed to be guaranteeing them good crops, almost Wicker Man style. And like what they did to Britney Spears in South Park as well. I don't know, I really liked it.
I just saw The Apostle the other day. I did love Dan Stevens in The Guest like Groovy Fox did. I hated him in this. I thought he was overacting. I thought he was channeling his performance from Beauty and the Beast. I thought it was really dreary, kind of boring to look at. It's very desaturated. I wasn't into it, but it just might be for you. I think if you like period pieces, maybe.
It's a small Australia, Raider. Very small Australia.
But yeah, I wasn't into it. Who would you recommend it?
For people, I don't know. Like I said, for me, it was kind of like it wasn't as good as The Witch, but it had a feel of that to me. I don't know. I just kind of felt it did, just because kind of old timey and dark. I don't know. I liked the violence mostly.
I think part of that was why I didn't like it too, because I've had a lot of people tell me that it's really intense, and for me, it never quite got that intense. And so I was like, well, when's all the crazy shit gonna happen? And compared to movies like The Wicker Man and The Witch, it just didn't really get that far.
The scene though, where he walks in and the guy killed his daughter and his pregnant baby, that I don't know, that scene really hit me.
Yeah.
And then he
I can see that.
fights back because this man, this crazy religious asshole, killed his own daughter. The kids,
religious people are crazy.
Yeah, that's where I guess.
Okay, religious people are scary, so I definitely see
that's
that.
why it really brought into me, because even the supernatural creature herself is not the real evil here. It's the religious crazy people who will do anything they can.
Zealots.
Yeah, they will do anything they can. Like, they don't even come off like, in the beginning of the movie, they don't seem like they want to do this shit. They are that desperate for it. The man kills his pregnant daughter because she was pregnant with this guy's kid, and they were going to kind of run away together. Stops that, and then he walks in on the bloodbath aftermath. They get into this horrific fight, and then it sprawls out into the streets where the dad said, "Oh, he killed my daughter," and everybody just turns on this poor kid who was trying
really
to, like...
plays on that mass, like, craziness of that cult mentality.
Nobody believes the kid that the dad killed his own daughter and stuff. They all think he did it, and they all, like, grab him, and it's just, like, that mob mentality can kind of really piss me off and, like, get under my skin, where just nobody's, like, listening. You can't do anything about it. That really got it to me, I guess, so that's why
I think
so high on my list.
Another thing for me that didn't work about the Apostle is doing all this because he says, his sister was always there for him. He's deeply bonded to his sister. His sister is, the person he is most connected to. But I wanted a flashback or something, because he's not on screen with his sister until the very end of the movie, and so I didn't feel the pressure.
I think maybe...
I didn't feel like what was at stake, because I didn't see anything of his relationship with his sister, and it felt like it didn't feel authentic when he finally did get to see his sister, because we've seen nothing of their relationship together. I don't know why he is so close to his sister, and for it to work for me, I needed that.
Yeah, I would agree. That was the main story. Like I said, I felt a little more deeply for the B story, because you did get
the
to see...
kids were
you
great.
did get to see their stuff. I was way invested in that and what happened. Oh man, they were so fucking robbed. But with him, yeah, but I think maybe the movie was already long enough as it was that I guess didn't have
he talks
that in
about his past as somebody who was like a missionary, and he says that his sister was... God failed him, but his sister was there. But how was his sister there for him? Like, they should have shown something.
I don't know. I have a younger sister, so I kind of just added it already in there. I didn't need to see it.
That bothers me with movies is that when things play on your sentimentality, it's like, well, you're going to be sad because the dog died, and you know how it feels to lose a dog, and we don't need to show you the relationship between this person and their dog. Or you're going to be sad because you have a sister, or because you've had a child. And I feel like that's cheap, and I feel like movies still need to earn that.
Tom Cruise says, "Come on now, Gory. Not all religious people are scary." You scare the shit out of me, buddy.
Yeah, Tom, we love you, but
you're scary.
Scientology scares us, and I'm pagan, so that's saying a lot.
All right, moving on. What do you got next?
What do I have next? I'm like moving my mouse around. It's on my phone. Okay, where are we? So lost.
Skipped a little.
Oh yeah, I did. So why don't we talk about this one together? Because it's your number 4, it's not my number 5. It's pretty close.
Honestly, I think it might even be my number 3 or so.
I bounce it around a lot.
My top 4 here, I don't quite 100% know. But whatever, let's talk about it.
The next one for me is You Might Be the Killer. Now, I will say, I love how this story became created. It started as a Twitter conversation between Chuck Wendig and another author where it was just bantering back and forth. He's like, "Oh, I got a job at a summer camp, and a lot of people are dying." And Chuck's like, yeah, that sometimes happens. And it's really funny. You should look up their Twitter conversation because it's really funny. But that developed into this movie where we have Fran... I can't remember his name. But he's at a summer camp, and he calls his buddy Chuck, who's played by Allison Hannigan, and I adore her. I've adored her ever since Buffy. And she's a big horror nerd, and she's kind of walking them through it. She's like, okay, well, so everyone's dying except for you, and you're just conveniently getting away. Do you have a weapon on you? Okay, I don't want to freak you out here, but you might be the killer.
Especially because this weapon is such a gnarly, like, machete type,
she's like,
like
is
bone
the weapon,
thing.
Is the weapon, scary or whatever? And he's like, oh, well, define's scary. And he just describes like all these teeth on it. She's like, yeah, that's fucking scary.
It's like bone handle charaded machete.
And you can tell the movie, it felt like it was kind of rushed maybe, but it's so funny, and the two of them are so charming. And I wasn't super into the ending either, but yeah, the movie is so damn charming, and they are so good in it. And as a big horror fan, like, I just loved it. So it's definitely one that I will watch and, you know, I will own and watch over and over again. Even though I recognize it's flawed, it's one of the most fun movies I've watched this year.
Yeah. It reminded me a lot of, like, The Final Girls. That kind of...
I think The Final Girls was better made. Like, this one does a lot of titles and stuff. I thought parts like that were a bit cheesy. But this was still so much fun that I enjoyed it despite, you know, what little flaws there were. And it's definitely in my top 5 as well.
I feel like The Final Girls was a better story and made in a lot of ways. So this kind of gave me what The Final Girls didn't get to give me, an R-rating, like, gore fest. That's the one thing I felt The Final Girls lacked. Yeah. So it put them together and you got just amazing. So...
But yeah, you kind of get like a little bit of The Mask in there, a little bit of Final Girls, you know, a little bit of Scream. If you like meta horror and you like a good horror comedy, and I think if you like Joss Whedon stuff, he's not involved in this at all, but because it's got Fran Kranz in it, who was in Cabin in the Woods and Dollhouse and Allison Hannigan,
Buffy, as Willow.
It has that kind of Whedon-y
I was looking for his name all over. I'm like, is he something in this, like
it
producer
feels
or
like
something
he did.
It felt like something.
It's very much like Cabin in the Woods.
Yes, very much like that.
So I loved it. It was a big surprise to me when it finally came out, and yeah, I'm not gonna say that it's, you know, fine art, but this is a really enjoyable movie. I think this is a movie that you can watch over and over again and have a good time with.
It's my number 4, but I don't know, maybe higher. Oh no.
I've bounced it around a lot because there are movies that I recognize are, you know, probably better made, but I think that's one of the most fun movies I've seen this.
He was charming. Allison Hannigan was just adorable, and they weren't even on screen together ever.
But they have so much chemistry.
Over the phone, they have that much chemistry. I kind of want a sequel just so they can hang out.
I want to see more of them.
I
love it, and I love this world that they've built. And this is also one of the movies this year where when I find that someone hasn't seen it, I'm like, okay, we're going to sit down and watch it right now, because it's just one of those movies that I feel like most people who are horror fans are going to probably have a good time watching. It's a really good movie to watch when you have friends come over. And
somehow she get younger because she looks great. Like, it's amazing.
Yeah, she looks amazing.
Not that she ever didn't look great, but she looks even better than the last time I saw her, so, like, whoa.
Made me feel good. She's older than I am, and I'm like, Allison Hannigan still got it. There's hope for all of us.
People have confused for Allison.
On occasion, yeah. Not so much these days.
But back in the days when Buffy was big and you were young and at the store, people were like, hey.
You're like, during American Pie and stuff, when I was a lot younger and my hair was a lot more red.
Oh, well, what else do we have?
Ariel's fangirling that Tom Cruise is in our chat.
Yeah. It is kind of a big deal. I feel honored that he does bother. He's a busy man, so if it comes to our chat.
He's really busy. I mean, he's probably working on Mission Impossible 200 or something.
Yeah, he's probably got all the money.
Yeah. It's just, he's a busy guy, but he makes time for
I think he's
going
to be the main star in all of those movies. He'll be Dracula next.
Minus what he was great as Lestat. Killed it.
He knows how to vamp.
He does.
What do you have next on your list?
I will take a look at my list. You said they're all sexy.
Oh, yeah, I guess I'll go to my 5, though. It was earlier on yours, The Ritual. For a good chunk of the year, this was my favorite movie. It was on Netflix. It wasn't what I expected. I said earlier, these people go out there was a shooting. I bet you are, Tom Cruise.
Sorry, that about killed me.
You're probably on your treadmill.
Did not mean to interrupt
treadmill,
you,
running, shirtless.
Shirtless Tom Cruise just about made me do a spit take.
Taking time on his phone every once in a while to...
Sorry, my love. Continue.
But yeah, The Ritual was really great. It was actually my favorite movie for a while there. On Netflix. I wasn't expecting a whole lot. And the first half of the movie is pretty good, but I thought it was going to something I've seen plenty of times. They go out, well, there were supposed to be more of them, but one of them got killed in a shooting at a liquor store or whatever, and the other one kind of just pussed out and let it happen. It happens. I don't know. I can't even say what I would do. I would like to think that I would do something, but then I'd probably just get myself killed.
It's hard to say until you're in that situation.
And then, even then, like, I've had guns pointed at me. It's not fun.
And at a gas station, I think was one of the reasons this one hit you so hard, because you've had that experience. When you worked at a gas station, he held at gunpoint.
So, I could relate to that a lot. But anyways, they're trying to get their minds off what happened. They're going to go hiking, and, you know, there's some dead corpses of animals and stuff in the trees, and it looks really cool. And, like, they go to this one weird cabin, and there's this gross mannequin thing in there, and I'm like, alright, this is really good. It's nothing I haven't seen before, and I kind of like, I have the ending pegged here, pretty much. And it wasn't too far off what I thought, but it was still different than what I thought.
And there's real mythology in here. If you look up the creature that ends up being at the root of the story.
It goes with the more Viking lore, and that was a nice, refreshing taste. I didn't expect that.
It's nice to see a new monster that's not a werewolf or a
witch
ghost
or
a zombie.
Yeah.
It's nice to. It was refreshing.
I thought maybe it was gonna go with stereotypical witch type, or demon thing.
And you don't need to have read the book to enjoy this movie. I mean, you hadn't read the book and you loved it.
So I was cool. I'm like, oh, cool. We're going with some Viking here, and I really enjoyed it. Nice little take on Loki that I never before, and I liked all about it. The Ritual was really good. I think it was probably my favorite Netflix movie of the year.
And I didn't mention this earlier, but You Might Be the Killer is on Shudder if you want to check that one out.
That's probably my favorite Shudder.
It's coming out on Blu-ray soon, and that's one I'm definitely going to pick up. I hope there's some special features on there, because I would just love that.
Except for Joe Bob. Best thing. But...
Yes.
Alright, so what do you have?
This is where we're starting to get very different picks, Daniel.
Oh yeah, and I don't think a lot of people are going to agree with my number.
I don't agree with your top 3. I like all those movies, but your order is cockeyed.
Top 1 though.
Your order's cockeyed. I just like saying cockeyed.
Cockeyed.
You're funny. Okay, so my number 3. I feel like my list. Okay, we'll say this. I don't agree with Danny's list, but I praise it for being more interesting than my list, because I feel like my list is pretty boring, and it's going to be what most people would pick. You're more interesting than I am.
I think 3 made it on my list.
They did. They were all on your list, but they were earlier. My number 3 is A Quiet Place. I liked A Quiet Place. I do feel that the hype for it was really big, and I'm glad I saw it at the theater before I had heard all the hype, because I do think it is way overhyped. The story isn't that much different than like Bird Box or Signs. What sets it apart is the performances are really, really good. I don't think it's a flawless movie. It's one I definitely wanted to own. I bought it on Blu-ray and I've watched it a few times. But I think it's the performances that really elevate it to a whole other level and make it, an artistic film.
Yeah.
And the way it's shot, it's beautifully shot.
Oh, yeah.
But I loved A Quiet Place, and the family in this. I like a lot of family horrors because I think that's something that resonates with me a little more now that I've gotten older and have a family of my own. But you really root for the family in this. They have really original characters. I really liked the daughter who is deaf, and she's played by a deaf actress. She's fantastic. Wonderful job. Krasinski did a great job. Blunt did a great job. There's just great performances across the board. It is very suspenseful, and even though it is, like I said, similar to things we've seen like Signs, I feel like they still did it original enough that it felt new.
It felt a little bit like Signs, especially kind of with the daughter, and I don't want to give it away, but most of you probably seen it. It felt a little M. Night Shyamalan of like what kind of becomes helpful, like, oh, what a twist in a sense.
Yeah, it did feel like an M. Night Shyamalan movie, but yeah,
good, not bad M. Night Shyamalan. That guy's all over the place.
He's across. I love like some of his movies, and some of his movies are awful.
The Bird Box was a better happening.
So I do really like it, but I am surprised by how overhyped it is, because to me it's like a really good M. Night Shyamalan movie, but it is really good. I mean, it deserves the hype, but I do think it's gonna make it disappointing for some people. It's not a perfect film.
And that's how I feel about it. I feel like if M. Night Shyamalan did a movie in the Cloverfield universe, that's what
You're so filled in the chat right now.
I know, and Tom, no, you cannot outperform that, alright? I'm sorry. This is where you get to be my wingman, Tom.
Oh!
I'm the Top Gun here. But yeah, I felt like Quiet Place is almost a good M. Night Shyamalan, like on his A game, directed a movie that was in the Cloverfield universe.
And it's also kind of like good M. Night Shyamalan movies are usually good because of the performances. Like, look at Sixth Sense. You've got Toni Collette and Haley Osment and Bruce Willis just acting their pants off. And, I think in a lot of movies, it's the performances that really sell it. I can't remember who said that. Black Christmas, Bob Clark was saying on the commentary, he said it's more important to him to have a good cast than a good script. Because he said a good cast can make a bad script, really good, but he's like, you can't do anything if you don't have good performers. And in this, not only did they have a good script, but they had great performers, and I think that's what takes what I think would have just been a creature feature and elevates it to like an award-winning movie.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was saying about Bird Box. I felt like the performances made it good. It was a really cheesy plot, But in The Happening, you have Marky Wahlberg just like,
Yeah,
huh?
The Happening's not that bad of a story, but Mark Wahlberg like puts it into this like level of cheese with just his ridiculous overacting.
The twist was bad with it being the tree. I guess that's corny to me.
But there's Plants in the Ruins. The Ruins is good.
So corny, but it's good. But
it's not corny.
I mean,
No, it's not.
I love that cheesy horror movie, The Ruins. But Marky Wahlberg plus the trees ending, and Mark, I don't know, what? Like, huh? No. It's just like
we're tangenting.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
But yes, Quiet Place was my number 3. I really liked it. I didn't buy a whole lot of movies this year. Of course, I bought, a lot of franchise ones because I kind of a completionist. I got the new Victor Crowley, but Quiet Place was one that I definitely wanted as soon as it came out.
Now, my number 3 is going to be a lot different here. Yours, I would say, at least the mainstream and the critics will understand it, and maybe it is a little boring, but expected more. Like, if anybody was going to do a main list of best scary movies, that would be up there. I'm going with Venom. Fight me.
I love you.
So many snacks. I love Venom. It's cheesy and stupid in its own ways.
Venom was like 22 for me. It was really close, and I don't get the hate because it's really fun.
It is silly, and it doesn't have Spider-Man, but other than you take Spider-Man out of Venom's actual story, they followed it still pretty closely. Like, yeah, he was dying, he was broken up from his engagement, and he just lost his job. That's all what really happened to Eddie Brock in the comics. Except for Spider-Man was more involved in all. Take Spider-Man out of it, and you have still the exact story that Venom's supposed to have. Plus, he ain't fucking what's his name from the 70s show, alright?
Topher Grace.
Oh god, Topher Grace. Venom was so horrible, and I like Spider-Man 1 and 2.
It's a CGI fest, but the CGI is really good.
I don't know how you could really do Venom without... There is actually...
You can't.
Plus, there is some practical with Venom. Not a whole lot, but there is some. Like, when he's on the motorcycle, you can see some practical stuff, just on him. But for the most part, it has
Tom
to be
Hardy is
CGI.
hilarious.
I
love the bromance. For me, that's what made it so much fun.
The bromance was great. And
the bromance between Venom and
it makes an awkward
Eddie.
triangle because he becomes Lady Venom, which does happen in the comics. And you get you got Riot in the movie. There's Carnage led out to the end. Plus there's Screams, like Symbiote, the red-yellow Scream one. It merges with a bunny in the movie, but it's leading up to maybe they'll have that later on in a sequel.
Yeah, Tom Cruise, Venom is listed as a horror movie on Letterboxd and IMDb, and I think it's because he eats somebody's head, which brings up a whole slew of questions.
Plus all the testing, in the lab with the little girl and all the people getting murdered, the hippie and all that stuff. That's a horror film.
It's a horror film.
So it is listed as a horror film.
And I'd like to see some more superhero horror films. I wanted to see New Mutants. It got pushed back to 2019. I'd like to see some.
Now, if Venom would have been rated R like Deadpool and got to go a little farther with that horror, I would like it a lot more. But I don't know, I had fun. I've already watched it on 4K, we own it now, and I don't give a shit. It's on my list, I don't care. I know it's gonna get some hate, and I don't blame you if you disagree with me.
I don't disagree with you. It wasn't on my list, but I think it is.
I just feel like on this list, I already know that I'm gonna be watching that movie more times than it.
That's how I feel about You Might Be the Killer. I feel like that's one I'm going to watch a lot. I could watch the movie right now, and I've already watched it 6 times.
And I'm just surprised because Sony didn't shit the bed on it. Some people might think they did. I was happy that, yeah, cool, Sony did a good hero movie. Plus, it doesn't have to be built into other universes. It's its own standalone thing, and I kind of wanted a good standalone horror, action superhero movie.
And I agree with Ben. We were saying that during Upgrade too. We're this kind of reminds me of Venom.
Yeah, and that's what you had Upgrade on your list. And
Upgrade made my list.
I actually haven't put Upgrade on my list. It might have made my 20. But yeah, we're it's kind of like Venom meets Kit from Knight Rider because he talks like Kit. But
what do you think about Woody Harrelson being Carnage?
I think character-wise, he's great. I think he is old.
I want to see Zach Ward be Carnage.
Yeah. I think
he's the bully in Christmas Story, and he was the older brother in Freddy vs. Jason.
He would be great. Yeah, Carnage is not as old as Woody Harrelson, and doesn't need a really ridiculously bad-looking red wig. That wig looked like shit, but we all know that Woody's bald. Needed a wig. I just wish they would have got him a better wig. I think he's got the character down. I mean, from Natural Born Killers,
he's really talented.
He's going to play in the mind frame of Carnage very well, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm looking forward to it.
Open minds.
Yep, I'm looking forward to it no matter what. I think it's an interesting pick. So let's do. And I do hope that the one with Carnage can hopefully be R. Deadpool and Logan have proved that a superhero movie can be R. Maybe they will. Carnage, I think, more than Venom needs.
Absolutely.
Carnage is very ruthless.
Carnage is a serial killer.
Yeah, and the comics that have Carnage, they go real deep with the violence. Hoping they do get an R.
I haven't read the Venom comics. Yeah, I do read a lot of comics. That's not one I've ever read, and I enjoyed the movie. So I don't think you need to read the comics to appreciate it.
I've read Venom, and they followed the comics pretty damn closely. They just had to remove the Spider-Man element out of it.
My biggest complaint of the movie was all the CGI. The most unbelievable thing to me was Michelle Williams' wig.
Yeah, her wig. Oh, well, her and Woody Harrelson.
Yeah.
It's a bad wig movie, and then the whole. You can see the theater in the car chase scene. It's like, are they going in circles? Because they keep going by that theater. But, oh well. Despite the silly flaws, I like that movie. I love the bromance of the characters, and I'm for another one.
And my number 2 is, again, a movie I think is highly, highly overhyped, but it does kind of deserve it, is Hereditary. Hereditary is my number 2. Laws is so good at that, by the way. I gotta have him do it for you guys. He's so good at it. You can hear his, like, from downstairs. It's so good. But, my response.
Oh, Zach, it is a possession movie, but yeah, Woody is playing Carnage. Did you not know that, or are you just upset about it? Oh, well.
I think he mentioned it. But, yeah, Hereditary is slow-paced, but the performances are phenomenal, with the exception of the little part with Alex Wolff, though I feel like he's being broken. He's almost reduced to, like, a child state. So even that I forgave. So, dude, ugly crying. You got ugly cry.
It was...
but Gabriel Byrne is great in it. He's on fire! Millie Shapiro, the one who plays the daughter, she was great. It was very surprising. There's a part in there where, like I said to you, I was like, holy shit. It is slow, but the horror payoffs are really, really good. It has, for me, kind of that 70s horror feel where it's a slow burn, but it really gets under your skin. It is genuinely terrifying. It's got that, I love like those old 70s, like kind of Satanism, occult movies, and I feel like it's a very big throwback to that. I do not like the claim that it is as scary or scarier than The Exorcist, because fuck that.
Anything that says that just gonna be a letdown.
Yeah, The Exorcist is it's not The Exorcist, but it is good. It is very good, and it doesn't need to be The Exorcist to be good. And yeah, like I said, phenomenal performances. I love that you can rewatch it time and time again. I've watched it a couple times now, and I notice new things in it, like every time, which is cool. It's got a lot of hidden little clues in there as to what's going to be happening at the end, and it is beautifully shot. I loved all the miniature stuff. So
the miniatures for me were like the creepiest part of it.
And one more thing I want to say is the final act. Just so much cool shit happens in that final act.
That's what I said when we were talking about it earlier for mine. I was like, that ending was great.
And when this movie drops dong, it drops dong.
Oh god,
dong, 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 dong,
dong, and bush and tits all over the place. Not ones you'd really want to see for me.
Like I love the honest trailer of Hereditary, where it's like, yeah, I was that guy who was like naked with his dong out.
Yeah, that was guy number 3, just there with my dong out, sitting on the floor. Yeah, a lot of nudity that I didn't want to see in that movie, but it's there. It goes there, and I like that it was not afraid to go there. I didn't find it scary, but I found it very unnerving. So I think that's the word I would use.
There are some visuals in there that I think definitely stick.
Yeah, I mean, it made my list. I think it is overhyped. That's why it wasn't so high on mine. Me.
The hype makes me want to put it down, but then it's just like put it lower on my list. But it is. I mean, I do feel like it's earned it. I just feel like some of the claims are a little too big for the great movie that it is.
And Toni Collette, one of the best acting all year, so on her, I think she should definitely be getting an Oscar nomination. Wow, Pazuzu. All hail Pazuzu. Alright, so my number 2, it was
Law said you gotta do it in the back of your throat. Laws is really good at it. I'll have to have him do it for you guys.
She's a fine little actress. God, she annoyed me. Because I just hate the whole point is. But
it was creative, and it was really well written. Like really solid script. Lots of layers. I love movies like that. I love movies that I can kind of mull over and unpack and look at in different ways. Loved it.
My number 2 was probably the most fun I had at the theaters. In fact, it had more I think about it, this might actually be my number one. Can't really decide. I'm just gonna leave it at number 2 because your number 1 is my number 1. It's very predictable.
We'll just talk about our number 1
It's a very predictable number 1, but
and Felix is gonna hate us and unsubscribe, and we're gonna cry.
But this actually might be my number 1. Still a couple other movies I don't think will top, but whatever. I loved Hellfest. I want to live in this world. I don't care. I mean, even if there wasn't...
And he's not your cousin, so you're not biased.
No, Seth did a great job, though. I really think he did. But I love this movie. Even if there wasn't a horror movie and a killer, just because half of it, they're just running around and enjoying the rides, and I want to be there with them. I love watching them play around and do that shit. It's not fair that I don't live in this world. In a sense. So I love Hellfest. I thought the killer was, I mean, not the most creative at first, but the ending...
the eyeball one. Like,
the kills were great. Eyes. The kills are great. I like the kills. Even the ones that don't work. They're just like, because it's frustrating. If you're trying to kill people in these elaborate ways, not everything's going to work. Sometimes when you play Mousetrap, the marble doesn't, like, fall down the right way, you know? So I love that kind of stuff.
You just brought up an analogy that half the people are not going to remember.
Exactly. Like...
Mousetrap, I used to play that game, but I don't think I ever played it properly. I just set up the trap. Yeah. Mr. Violator's here, and Geek Out Cinema just get back.
But yeah, at the very end, it does give a cool little layer that's very realistic to a killer. So I
loved the ending. The ending is my favorite part of Hellfest. That's what I think makes it really kind of set apart. And, you know, I know Seth's gotten a lot of flack for, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, it's like this movie, it's like that movie. I don't feel like a haunted amusement park thing, a serial killer in an amusement park has been done quite like Hellfest before. And we got 2 knockoffs this year, but I have to say Hellfest did it the best.
They're
better
knockoffs.
than Bloodfest.
They're the straight to DVD knockoffs, if you ask me. So straight to video knockoffs. Hellfest did it. We had Funhouse a long time ago, but this is way different than Funhouse. And Funhouse's poster is got a clown on it, and there's no clown in Funhouse. I love Funhouse, though. I think that's really great. It probably is my favorite kind of haunted carnival type thing since Funhouse, but it's not even remotely the same.
And it feels pretty believable, too, because I think a big question with a movie like that is, you're like, well, why wouldn't the cops do it? And, yeah, they do eventually get involved.
And, yeah, and before they are fully invested to be involved, it's like, well, yeah, how can you prove that in the situation that they're in? Because all the craziness that's going on, like I said, I was enjoying this movie even before it went on to a full horror aspect of it. And throwing that horror in there, and it's so high on my list.
Also, the security guard looked exactly like Cecil from the horror show.
He did.
Yeah. Slightly, like, less attractive Cecil, but kind of he looked like Cecil to me.
A Cecil doppelganger.
Yes.
I don't know. Hellfest for me was great. I want more of that type of thing. Alright, number 1. Most predictable, boring answer, but...
Don't hate us, Felix, because we still love you, even though our opinions are different.
An entertainment wizard, I'm going to kind of agree, and maybe that's why I think Hellfest is my number 1, but now that I've really kind of mulled them over and like let them set in my mind. But either way, we're going with our number 1 right now.
Halloween!
Yay! Our boy Michael! I don't know, it's probably...
I do have to say Halloween was the most over-fucking-hyped movie of the year.
It is.
Seriously, like, everybody was talking about this when people are still talking about this. But it did live up to the hype. It's like the same thing with Hereditary. I think it's overhyped, but I can't deny that it was a great movie. I really didn't think it was going to live up to the hype at all.
Late Horror Show Dino,
Dino!
I'm assuming, yep.
Or Danny Devil?
Yeah, it better not be Danny Devil.
Danny Devil! He has nightmares about that.
Muppets. But no, Halloween, I felt like they didn't do wrong. Yes, there are some flaws, and maybe that isn't my number 1 right now, just because I'm thinking about him. It's very coincidental where Michael Myers is always
like
at.
Like I said, the ranking's pretty arbitrary.
Honestly, yeah, my top 10, they're all 4-star or more, 4-star movies. I think even Mandy, like, top 15, I think are all, maybe from Bird Boxes, whatever. But
I didn't have a single 5-star movie this year.
I have a lot of 4-star movies, and Halloween is just a 4-star movie. It's not perfect. It's like,
it's not perfect.
It's not.
There's some things about it that I didn't like, but I haven't seen a good Halloween sequel in a long time. Halloween's a franchise that's been around my entire life. And I didn't expect it to be, I mean, you know, Danny McBride's involved and stuff, and I'm just like, it's not going to be.
He was the, like,
best. And then the trailers looked pretty good, but I was still not expecting it to be good, but it did a good job of revisiting the original film and also still kind of bringing its own thing to it. I thought the mask looked great. It's probably one of the best masks they've had in a really long time. Jamie Lee Curtis knocked it the hell out of the park. I love that, not only did we have an awesome female character in this, but she's an older woman.
3 of them.
Yes, and then her daughter and then her granddaughter were also great. Just great female cast, great suspense. Obviously, the music was awesome because John Carpenter returned to it. Some awesome kills. And I loved that freaking little kid who's being babysat.
Oh yeah, the little kid is getting babysit. He was a charming little lad, and I liked him. I don't know. I just felt I hated Resurrection. Hated the Rob Zombie movies. I don't know. Some people liked them. I didn't. Yeah. I thought they were crap. I do like how this movie did take the one thing from those movies and up the violence, up the smashing of heads and being brutal with the kills. Yeah, it was
nice to see a brutal Michael. And I also, I like how in the original Halloween, like, he does the thing where he puts the sheet over his head, and he has this, like, kind of weird, playful nature to him. And I like that we saw that revisited in this. We haven't seen that since part 1.
I don't know. I've been.
And again, also, it's another movie like some other movies we talked about here that really effectively deals with people. It does.
Yeah. Both had some of that in our lives, so we can both relate to that.
But yeah, I mean, a lot of you, I understand why you don't like it. It was highly overhyped. Even though I love this movie, it's my number one. I am so sick to death of hearing about it, especially in the horror community. You hear about it a lot, and I'm kind of just ready for the next thing. Ready to move on. But it was really good, and it's enjoyable, and it's one I'm going to watch a lot. It's one when I marathon the Halloween movies, I'm going to look forward to getting to that one. And, I mean, look at the sequels in this franchise, guys. There's a lot of shit in the Halloween franchise, and I have to say that this has got to be probably my second favorite of the franchise. Second or third. I also really like H2O, Hate Me, whatever. I love it.
I think 4 is my favorite sequel.
Ooh, I love 4, too.
Daniel
4,
Harris
H2O.
was great. Donald Pleasant was great. It's just, I don't know.
That's a discussion for another day.
Yeah, I really liked 4. I even liked the original part 2, but...
Boris says that he hates it. Fuck us both.
Oh, well.
Boris hates everything. The little crow on the screen. He hates everything.
Cruz says Resurrection was... Undead Jess would agree with.
Oh, yeah, that's Undead Jess's favorite.
He likes it better than the original.
Should I get Lulz to get
Trick
his
or treat,
thoughts on his favorites?
Want to.
Oh... Zigma's here. Uncle Dusty is here. Everyone say hi to Uncle Dusty.
And Marilyn. Yeah, Zigma hated it as well, so he agrees with you.
Mom?
Zigma took us actually. I believe Zigma even paid. I didn't ask him. Zigma treated us to Halloween. So I don't know. I actually do think Hellfest is my number one. Now that I've had some time to mow it over, I just feel like I didn't fuck up, and I really had a Halloween scratch or itch that never got scratched, and this is the closest that came to it since part 4. Oh, but it is a very boring answer, I admit.
Paul says, no, he doesn't like Halloween, and he's too busy doing teenager shit. He's watching YouTube, not us.
Probably not us at all.
I just want him to like
hopefully
our
not
show.
like the Paul brothers or PewDiePie either. So
no,
he's not that lame.
He watches a lot of the Let's Play.
Yeah, he's a Let's Play. So, anyways, yeah.
So that was 2018. Like we said at the beginning, it was a pretty solid year overall.
Nothing really blew our mind.
But nothing really was good. Like Get Out, which I would consider Get Out to be like a perfect fucking. I wouldn't change a damn thing about it. And for me, there wasn't a film like that. All the movies, even the ones I really loved, were flawed in their own way. And I'm really looking forward to 2019. Oh, wow.
Thanks, Sigma.
Thanks, Uncle Dusty.
Woo! Appreciate it. Halloween sucked, but Get Out. And alright, yeah.
Thank you.
I feel like last year had some better home runs, but we had some more base hits.
Yeah, it was a solid year overall. But nothing that really just... like what I would call perfect.
No. The only movie
We are the weirdos, mister.
Yeah. The only movie I think I gave a 5-star rating to Deadpool 2. And that's not a horror movie, but
I like Deadpool 2.
I loved it. Juggernaut. Fucking Juggernaut.
It was good. And our next stream that we do together will be our most anticipated of 2019.
That coming up real quick, right?
Pretty soon. I mean, I've got a Ghouls Night Out this coming weekend, and then you've got a Stag Night with the boys.
Doing the Stag Night, or am I doing the wrestling?
I think you're doing the wrestling horror.
It'll be the day after Royal Rumble, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay.
But just stay tuned. If you ring the little bell, you'll get notified. And we usually always have our upcoming streams listed on our channel page. And of course, if you follow us on Twitter or Facebook, we always post about upcoming streams. And of course, there's the Gory Hole, which is our Facebook group. We're all welcome to join the Gory Hole, where we're all weirdos in the Gory Hole.
There might be a surprise stream tomorrow night. I haven't decided.
What's tomorrow?
Tomorrow's the full moon.
Okay. Can I ask them a question?
No,
Please?
you can't.
Please, they're my friends.
That's all I'm gonna say
Please?
about
Okay, fine.
that.
Just tell Danny that you want to see more full moons. He's on the fence about it. I love the full moon reviews.
All right.
And also stay tuned because next month, like we said, February 24th at, I think, 9, same night as the Oscars, we're having our scares. It's going to be all live, tons of great horror hosts.
Starring
hopefully
us and hopefully some of you. Tom Cruise, good night. Do you think Tom Cruise twitches his little legs like he's running when he's sleeping? Yeah.
Like he's running in his sleep.
Yeah, his little legs kick.
Can we adopt him? Can he just live in our house?
Little preach. But other than that,
He would ruin the furniture.
Yeah, he would. He'd jump all over it.
See, Ben loves the full moon reviews. Ben knows what's up.
All right. Well, stay tuned tomorrow night. There might be a stream.
Thank you guys all for joining us tonight. Thank you, Zigma, aka Uncle Dusty. Thank you, Zachary, Ariel, Tom Cruise,
Fuck yeah.
Entertainment Wizard, Ben Grimm, Felix was here. It was awesome hanging out with all of you and sharing our picks, hearing your guys' picks, and hopefully you'll join us for our next stream, which will be Saturday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's going to be Ghouls Night Out. Me and Annie hanging out.
It is not advertised, but probably one tomorrow night.
Maybe.
We'll see.
I'm excited.
I can't promise.
I didn't even know. I'm the co-host, and I didn't even know.
Can't promise.
So here's to 2019, guys. It's going to be a good year.
I gotta take Laws to see Dragon Ball Brawly one. If I can have time to come back from that and do it.
Oh,
I'll
that's
do it.
right. And I'm going to be interviewed on Geek Out Cinema next month, too. And we just did an interview with the Horror Show, and we were just on the Slash and Cast Awards. So lots of just exciting stuff this year, guys. And, of course, we're going to try and keep you guys up to date on all of it. So, yeah, stay tuned.
Hopefully somewhere in our list of 20, we mentioned some of your favorites. Even some of the ones you might thought were overhyped or just didn't like. That's the whole point of it.
One thing I will say, if you want to see our entire list of everything we've watched, you can find me on Letterboxd.
You can put the link.
Yeah, here's Danny. All right. Here's Danny on Letterboxd. And,
I need to update, because I watched a few films like Upgrade and a few other ones. Haven't been put
and
on
then
there
here's
yet.
mine. If you guys want to see our full list, and of course, we have lists of all things on there, and, you know, our 2019s will be on there. So, it's just fun connecting with you guys on Letterboxd. If you happen to be on there, we would love to check out what you've been watching, share what we've been watching. Hopefully you guys liked the stream, and I think we'll probably see you tomorrow.
All right.
Bye, guys. Thank
Bye.
you.
All right.